Chapter 2018. Do it. Qin Yuanfeng acted as soon as he said he would. His opponent was too powerful, there was no room for hesitation. They could try the method that Qin Wentian suggested. The Grim Reaper glanced at the imperishable Heaven Lord and acted as well. For a moment, death chi filled the sky. A death god appeared behind him and both of his hands folded into Dao seals. In an instant, boundless darkness imprints appeared before him, all of them were death imprints. 1 trillion death imprints descended at the same time, blasting towards the giant Buddha. If this giant Buddha was a living being, it would have instantly lost all its vitality. Boom! When the millions and millions of Dao imprints landed on the gigantic Buddha, the golden body of the gigantic Buddha turned pitch black, engulfing the golden light. Not only so, behind the gigantic Buddha, the powerful Buddha lords of the Western Paradise also turned pitch black, as though they were engulfed by the imprints of death. Back then, the Grim Reaper's fame swept through the supreme ancient immortal realms. There was no need to doubt his strength. If ordinary heavenly deities were to suffer the attack of 1 trillion death imprints, they would have long since died. Do it! The Grim Reaper roared. Princess Kitamura's attack also arrived. Her entire body radiated holy Dao light, resembling the Dao of a god king, radiating out through the starry space. The souls of the experts from the Buddha World Army once again suffered a stillness attack. Their souls seemed to be on the verge of stopping, turning into ice statues once more, causing the power of the giant Buddha to weaken unceasingly. The golden light from the giant Buddha wanted to devour the death chi, but because of the weakening of its energy, its recovery speed was very slow. Time reversal. A voice rang out in the air once more. Time was about to reverse, but at this moment, Qin Wentian stood in the airspace above the Buddha World Army. His Dao art also enveloped this boundless world. In his body, boundless time intent flowed. His flesh, blood, and Dao bones all radiated the power of the Dao. Everything in the world seemed to be coming to a standstill. The giant Buddha wanted to control the time reversal, but Qin Wentian actually stopped it, causing the reversal process to be extremely slow. In fact, it even showed signs of coming to a halt. Hua Taishu used the Samsara Heavenly Dao Illusion art. In the still spacetime, he used the Samsara Heavenly Dao Illusion art to enter the minds of everyone, causing them to wake up. They were no longer under the control of the giant Buddha. Their goal was to completely sever the connection between the giant Buddha and the Buddha World Army before destroying it. Explode! A heaven-shaking roar rang out. That was the voice of the Grim Reaper. As the sound of his voice faded, the trillions of Dao imprints imprinted on the gigantic Buddha actually erupted a second time. These death Dao imprints could be planted on the bodies of others and absorb the energy of death. This wasn't just the second time. At this moment, the trillions of Dao imprints erupted at the same time. For a time, death chi engulfed the entire sky. The gigantic Buddha's body turned pitch black and was about to become a dead object. Even if the Buddha wasn't alive, the Grim Reaper still wanted him dead. At this moment, the Dao imprints erupted, causing death energy to be absorbed into the giant Buddha. Qin Wentian. The Grim Reaper wanted to kill the giant Buddha. Qin Yuanfeng, who was charging, arrived. Countless light casts. Arrived, he. From, arrived. Landed. For him arrived. That the heave. Did, the Qin to him. For he to. Was to go. Was to that. For in. For him as. As, he as. As, you. As. The Buddha's body shattered. Then, it was either devoured by the Azure Dragon, sucked into another dimension, or sucked into the power of reincarnation. The boundlessly huge Buddha's body finally crumbled bit by bit. The moment the crack appeared, it expanded madly. The 6 Azure Dragons wriggled about, tearing everything apart. They transformed into the 6 paths of Tao, capable of devouring the heavens. In addition to the death imprint, everyone in the starry space felt as though they were witnessing the collapse of a supreme deity. This scene was simply too shocking. This deity was too terrifying. Many peak characters of the supreme ancient immortal realms joined forces before they managed to tear him apart. If they didn't join forces, no one in the supreme ancient immortal realms would be able to defeat him. Naturally, he was also born after absorbing the faith energy of the Buddha world's army. He wasn't a single person. If there was such a powerful expert, it would be sufficient to cause chaos in the supreme ancient immortal realms. The shattered pieces of the giant Buddha were like divine weapons falling down from the starry space. It was unknown which land in the supreme ancient immortal realms they would land on. After a long time, there were people in the supreme ancient immortal realms who inclined their heads and stared at the sky. To their shock, they discovered that there were pieces of divine weapons falling down from the sky. These pieces were like the fragments of a gigantic divine weapon that had shattered. They contained the Tao of death as well as the power of the Buddha Tao. Some of the divine weapons pierced into the ground, tearing it apart. Only after a long time did they learn that these were actually the broken pieces of a great battle in the 9 heavenly layers. They had no way to imagine how terrifying the battle back then was. Naturally, this was a story for the future. After the giant Buddha was torn apart, the 6 azure dragons transformed into 6 beams of divine light that shot out from different parts of the giant Buddha. The giant Buddha finally split apart, transforming into countless fragments that were destroyed by the power of the 6 paths. We succeeded. The eyes of the experts from the Qin Heavenly Divine sect gleamed with sharpness. This battle wasn't easy. The giant Buddha was simply too powerful, almost invincible. The experts from the Qin Heavenly Divine sect finally managed to tear the giant Buddha apart. This time around, the God King of the Western world, the Buddha sovereign of the Western paradise, should appear, right? It's about time for us to act. A faint smile appeared on Yu Chankong's face. He glanced at Che Ho and Che Ho understood tacitly. However, the heavenly deities from the hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms beside Yu Chankong felt somewhat uneasy. After personally witnessing this deity-level battle, they realized that given their current cultivation bases, they were no longer qualified. They had already lost the qualifications to contend for the throne of the supreme ancient immortal realms. They followed Yu Chankong, but they might only be cannon fodder. Qin Wentian, Qin Yuanfeng, the Grim Reaper, even Hua Taishu and Princess Kitamura, any one of them could easily destroy them. This deity-level battle might be a calamity for them. Yu Chankong floated in the air. He stretched out his hands and closed his eyes, as though he was intoxicated. The grand banquet of the supreme ancient immortal realms has finally begun. From his mouth, an intoxicated voice rang out. After that, in the air, boundless astral light gathered around him. The constellations in the sky seemed to be shifting as an incomparably resplendent full moon appeared in the air. This full moon was extremely large and the radiance it radiated was stronger than all the astral light. Not only that, it was still growing bigger and bigger. Gradually, it covered all the astral light, blocking out all the constellations in the sky. Qin Wentian and the others inclined their heads and stared at the full moon. It was cold and desolate. This was the intent of the moon. After waiting for so long, Yu Chankong finally acted. He acted at the moment the Buddha's body was destroyed. Clearly, before this, he was worried that the Buddha was too powerful. Yu Chankong was using the power of the moon god and not the power of God King Gu from his previous life. Clearly, after devouring Qin Dangtian, he had inherited the moon god's Tao. Also, this was the complete Tao of the moon god. The moon god had set up the divine mausoleum and returned countless years later. Qin Dangtian had no way to control it. But given God King Gu's ability, since he was reborn as Yu Chankong, he would naturally infuse the moon god's Tao into his body. This was the power that God King Gu was proficient in. The grand banquet of the supreme ancient immortal realms, the final celebration. Are you all prepared? Yu Changkong drew in a deep breath. Moonlight shone down, enveloping the boundless space beneath the starry sky. This world transformed into a world of lunar eclipse. The sky seemed to be covered by a layer of shadow. Everyone felt a shadow in their hearts. Qin Wentian couldn't be bothered to continue dealing with Wu Xiu from the Western Paradise. His silhouette flashed as he returned to the side of Qin and Imo Qincheng. Yu Changkong was too dangerous. He had once experienced Qin Dangtian's moon god's eye and knew how terrifying it was. Once one was enveloped by it, even heavenly deities would be helpless to block it. Now that Yu Changkong unleashed his moon god's eye, it would only be stronger. In the air, a true moon god appeared. He stood behind the moon, resembling a god of the heavens. The moon was nothing but his eyes. The moonlight was his gaze. It's about to begin. The shadow behind the moon spoke. This was none other than Yu Changkong's voice, causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. As the sound of Yu Changkong's voice faded, beams of moon god's light shone down, shooting towards Qin Wentian and the heavenly deities of the Qin heavenly divine sect. This was moonlight, there was no way to evade it. Qin Wentian's eyes flickered, terrifying to the extreme. Runic inscriptions manifested in the air, enveloping the entire space around him. Countless divine inscriptions interweaved together, transforming into a screen of light that blocked the moonlight, causing the moonlight to only be able to shine on it before it was reflected back to where it came from. These incomparably resplendent divine runes were the manifestation of the sealing Dao art. Within the moon, numerous pitch-black figures appeared. These figures resembled heavenly dogs, wanting to devour the moon. After that, Qin Wentian discovered that these heavenly hounds lunged towards him. There was no end to them, as they lunged towards the divine inscriptions around him. These heavenly hounds gnawed away at the energy of the divine inscriptions bit by bit until a hole was formed. These heavenly hounds were like heavenly hounds of the food Tao. Very swiftly, they completely devoured the sealing divine runes. The moonlight continued to shine down, wanting to devour the heavenly deities. Qin Yuanfeng glanced in the direction of Qin Wentian as he frowned. Qin Wentian had to take care of the people around him when he fought. It was very troublesome. His silhouette flashed as he soared towards the moon in the air. Many heavenly hounds lunged towards him, wanting to devour his Tao. However, the energy of the six paths around him wasn't controlled by any Tao arts. The countless heavenly hounds that lunged towards him were directly annihilated, unable to stop him from killing his way up into the sky. Qin Wentian's friends and family felt somewhat depressed. No matter what, they were heavenly deities. Why did they become a burden to Qin Wentian? In truth, they couldn't be blamed for being weak. It was just that Yu Changkong was too dangerous. He was a god-king character and Qin Wentian was worried that his friends and family might be killed. Hence, he could only retreat to protect them. Although they were all heavenly deities, they couldn't be careless when facing an opponent like Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong was extremely evil. If he grasped the opportunity, Qin Wentian believed that Yu Changkong would directly act against the people closest to him. If such a situation really happened, he would definitely regret it for the rest of his life. Chapter 2019. After Yu Changkong acted, Che Ho moved as well. When he saw Qin Yuanfeng rushing towards the moon in the sky, he moved like a bolt of lightning, appearing before Qin Yuanfeng in the blink of an eye. He stabbed out with a finger and in an instant, divine weapons rained down like meteors, whistling through the air as they shot towards Qin Yuanfeng. Qin Yuanfeng's eyes were cold. He lifted his hand and punched out, unleashing the great Tao of devouring, swallowing the divine weapons into his dimension. "Where are you going?" Che Ho coldly spoke. The surroundings lit up, becoming incomparably resplendent as countless divine weapons appeared. A single divine weapon was already extremely powerful. Now that millions of divine weapons appeared in the starry space, what kind of scene was this? Only in this boundless starry space could they withstand such a battle. If they fought in the supreme ancient immortal realms, the people would surely be plunged into misery and suffering. A single strike from them would be enough to destroy countless cities. Kill. Che-Ho pointed his finger forward. Countless divine weapons manifested boundless Tao arts, manifesting from the primal chaos, exuding boundless might. If ordinary heavenly deities were to face such an attack, they would most probably only be able to despair and wait for death. However, Qin Yuanfeng was incomparably calm. He blasted out a palm imprint towards the sky, and in an instant, the entire starry space trembled. In the next instant, time and space became chaotic. The sun and moon flipped and the starry space seemed to be spinning. The direction of the countless divine weapons were all changed as they flowed aimlessly into the chaotic dimension. However, not a single one of the divine weapons managed to injure Qin Yuanfeng. Che-Ho's expression grew colder when he saw this scene. His body transformed into a divine weapon, shuttling through space and directly appearing before Qin Yuanfeng. He engaged in close combat, using his body of flesh and blood to pierce towards Qin Yuanfeng. However, in this world, most probably, there was no one who could be compared to his body of flesh and blood. He was a divine weapon that seized the power of creation from the heavens and earth. Qin Yuanfeng blasted out, directly using his body of flesh and blood to clash against Che-Ho. The force of the 6 paths infused into his fist, capable of destroying everything. The two of them directly collided, causing the entire sky to tremble. The surrounding spacetime crumbled unceasingly. The scene was extremely terrifying. Yu Changkong glanced at the battle over there. After that, an evil smile appeared on his face as he stared at Qin Wentian. Speaking of which, I should still thank your father. He was the tomb keeper while I inherited everything from the divine mausoleum. In order to properly thank you, I will devour all of you and make you a part of me. In that case, even if you all die, you will live on forever. It's just that you will live on because of my existence. Yu Changkong, even if you live another life, you still won't be able to change your fate. In this battle, you will still die. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at Yu Changkong. His eyes turned golden, becoming extremely terrifying. Qin Wentian stared at him. Their gazes intersected. Qin Wentian could sense the power of the moon god's eyes as he sank into a boundless illusion. However, Yu Changkong also sensed the power in Qin Wentian's eyes. He also entered a mysterious world, so close yet so far away. Although he and Qin Wentian were very far apart, it felt like they were standing face to face in a spatial world. What world is this? Yu Changkong smiled as he asked. The will realm of spacetime. Our consciousnesses are sealed within this spacetime. Neither of us can exit. In this battle today, only one of us can survive. Qin Wentian's voice was ice cold. Yu Changkong laughed and stared at Qin Wentian. I've always claimed that my moon god's eyes are unrivaled. To think that when I exchanged glances with you, I actually entered your spacetime world. You must have infused the power of the Buddha Tao into your eyes, right? As expected of me, Yu Changkong's opponent. I'm filled with more and more anticipation. How powerful would I be after devouring you? As the sound of his voice faded, a moon god was born in this spacetime world. The terrifying moon god's eyes landed on Qin Wentian. Buddhism emphasizes on calmness, not being bewitched. Your illusions aren't very effective against me. If Qin Wentian's cultivation base was weak, he would directly fall into the illusions of the moon god's eyes. But since his cultivation base was strong, he could resist the power of the moon god's eyes. The moon god was once a god king like me. How can his strength be as simple as you imagine? Yu Changkong coldly laughed. Beams of moonlight cascaded down on Qin Wentian, wanting to exterminate all Taos. The holy light around him was slowly stripped away. After that, numerous moons manifested, wanting to devour Qin Wentian's body. Qin Wentian lifted his hand and blasted out. In an instant, a vast amount of spacetime sword intent gushed forth, destroying the moons. However, this wasn't the end. More and more moons manifested in the sky, there was no end to them. These moons all shot out beams of dark light, landing on the space where Qin Wentian was at. At this moment, the spacetime sword Dao was penetrated by the beams of moonlight, vanishing like smoke. Breaking the Dao. Qin Wentian silently mused. The complete moon god's force, other than being able to borrow the power of moonlight from the constellations in the sky to create illusions that could replace reality, it could also be used to destroy all Daos in the world. When these two powers fused together, the moon god was extremely powerful. With a single gaze of his, he could cause people to fall into an illusion and believe that their lives were real. Qin Wentian unleashed all sorts of Daos, but they were all destroyed by the light of the dark moons. His surroundings seemed to have transformed into a spacetime that didn't allow any Daos to exist. He tried to use spacetime Dao arts, wanting to freeze time, but it was useless. The light of the dark moons directly destroyed the Dao of spacetime. It was like there were no Daos in the world that couldn't be broken by the moonlight. However, from the perspective of the outside world, Yu Changkong and Qin Wentian, who were fighting, both stood at their original locations, not moving at all. It was like time had stopped as they stared at each other from afar. However, the people around them all understood that they must have entered a mysterious realm where they were fighting. It was just that they couldn't see it. Such a battle was extremely terrifying. Go and break his true body. The experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms beside Yu Changkong spoke as they rushed towards Qin Wentian. As long as they could destroy Qin Wentian's true body in the external world, the victor of the battle between him and Yu Changkong would be determined. This battle was incomparably dangerous. If they were careless, they would all be buried in the heaven vault. Hence, they all hoped for victory. They wanted to kill Qin Wentian first, killing this heaven vault controller. After that, the heaven vault would be in a state of disunity. However, how could the people around Qin Wentian allow them to succeed? Before this, they always felt that they were useless and needed to rely on Qin Wentian to protect them. Now that the opportunity presented itself, they wanted nothing more than to fight and kill all these invaders. This was especially so for Yu Changkong. This man had committed heinous crimes and had to die. The deity armies of both sides swiftly clashed against each other. Jun Mengchen and the heaven-devouring beast were especially powerful. They erupted forth with heavenly might amidst the chaotic army of deities. At the same time, in another battlefield, the Grim Reaper and Princess Kitamura didn't let their guard down. Although they joined forces to destroy the gigantic body of the Buddha, the God King of the Western world still hasn't appeared. He was an extremely dangerous existence. Princess Kitamura continued to use her powerful soul attacks to control the souls of the Buddha realm's army, causing their souls to freeze. Hua Taishu wanted to enlighten them, allowing them to wake up. The Grim Reaper stared at the Western world's army. No one knew where the God King of the Western world was hiding. He had to be careful. Why must you guys do this? A voice drifted over, seemingly originating from the void. The situation is irreversible. For the sake of the world, my Buddhist sect has to take control of the heaven vault. Stop boasting shamelessly. Since your Buddhist sect is so powerful, why is there a need for you to hide? Since you are unwilling to come out, in that case, I will kill all the bald donkeys of your Western paradise first. The Grim Reaper coldly spoke. He turned his gaze to the front of the Buddha realm's army. These people were all experts from the Western paradise. With a wave of his hand, it was like a giant hand of death directly grabbed onto the souls of everyone. Ordinary Buddhas felt their hearts stopping as they felt a sense of suffocation. I've always been in front of you, it's just that you didn't recognize me. Another ethereal voice rang out. From the Buddha realm's army, a figure walked out. He pressed his palms together and in an instant, a boundless golden light radiated from him, shattering the formless energy released by the Grim Reaper. Die! The Grim Reaper glanced over. A death spear shot out from his eyes, directly penetrating through that person's body. After that, a thunderous boom rang out as that person's body was directly annihilated, vanishing into thin air. Back then, you slaughtered your way into the supreme ancient immortal realms, causing blood to flow for the people of the world. You are filled with sin. Now, do you want to repeat your mistakes? Another voice rang out. An extremely ordinary-looking person broke free from the control of Princess Kitamura and Huataishu. The Grim Reaper merely glanced over and killed him. That person directly collapsed to the ground, he didn't have to expend any effort at all. A third person walked out. It was like there were countless people here. In this Buddha realm army, any one of them could be the God King of the Western Paradise. He was everywhere and truly controlled the lives of the people here. The killing intent in the Grim Reaper's eyes was terrifying. But he knew that unless he killed all these people, it would be impossible for him to kill them all. I even brought a few old friends here with me. Let them bear witness to everything. That third person slowly spoke. He started chanting Buddhic hymns. After that, the Buddhas released their frozen energy. They all chanted in Sanskrit as an illusory figure gradually manifested, shining brightly in the sky. This figure was too gigantic, blotting out the sky. It was a gigantic beast, incomparably baleful, like the king of all beasts. He let out a low-sounding roar that shook the 9 heavens. The starry space trembled, causing the heavenly deities who were fighting to turn their gazes over. After that, Little Rascal seemed to have sensed something. He let out a heaven-shaking roar and rushed towards the Grim Reaper's battlefield, staring at the figure that just appeared. God King Desolate. The imperishable Heaven Lord's shadow spoke. This gigantic beast that just appeared was none other than the heaven-devouring titanic beast. How is it? Do you feel surprised? I'll let you guys meet an old friend. The Buddhas below continued to speak. After that, boundless astral light descended from the sky beside God King Desolate. These astral light were filled with fearsome devil might, transforming into a terrifying storm of devil chi that slowly converged into a shadow. This shadow gradually became more condensed. Finally, it transformed into an incomparably gigantic figure. His entire body was pitch black and his eyes were incomparably tyrannical. With a single glance, it was like he was the ruler of heaven and earth, even the supreme ancient immortal realms had to submit to him. Chapter 2020. This devil figure was too terrifying, he was like a devil lord. When they saw him appearing, the expressions of many experts from the heaven vault froze. Another God King has appeared. The devil sovereign of the 8 God Kings has appeared as well. Grand Devil Lord. The Grim Reaper stared at the devil figure. Among the 8 God Kings, there were Buddhas, demons and demons. The Buddha sovereign of the Western Paradise and the Grand Devil Lord were opposing existences. One Buddha, one devil. But at this moment, the Buddha sovereign of the Western Paradise actually summoned the Grand Devil Lord as well as the heaven-devouring demon god. Not only that, he joined forces with the evilest of the 8 God Kings, God King Gu. Was this really a Buddha? In the hearts of the experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms, the Western Paradise was no longer a Buddha. It was a fake Buddha. Little Rascal rushed over. He roared at the incomparably gigantic heaven-devouring beast. However, that gigantic beast merely stared at him coldly, causing Little Rascal to feel extreme pain. He could sense that this was his father. The Buddhist sect has the reincarnation Buddha Lord. He's proficient in the Tao of reincarnation and is like an evil devil. You are the Buddha sovereign and are proficient in the Tao of the Buddhist sect, seizing the bodies of 2 God Kings. What a cruel method. What face do you have to call yourself a Buddha? Back then, I didn't agree with the ideals of the Western Paradise. It's like I've seen everything. Hua Taishu sighed. He had awakened the memories of his past life and knew many things about the Buddhist sect. Now, after experiencing the invasion of the Buddha world army, he finally saw the true face of the Western paradise. The so-called Buddha sovereign of the Western paradise was just a facade. Their innate character was that of an evil devil. True Buddhas deliver all living beings from suffering, doing good deeds in the world. They cultivate virtue and virtue, doing good deeds to purify evil devils. They don't plunder the faith of the people of the world, using all sorts of methods to become stronger. This is also the reason why the Western paradise only dares to call itself the Western paradise now. It isn't the true holy land of the Western paradise. The Buddhism of the Western paradise is said to be an ancient legend. After that, it was polluted by the mortal world and became the Western paradise. The Grim Reaper spoke. Hua Taishu nodded, an intense obsession appeared in his heart. He wanted to destroy the current Western paradise and pass on the true Buddhist Tao. The Grand Devil Lord and the heaven-devouring God King coldly stared ahead, filled with contempt. The devil might from the Grand Devil Lord engulfed the starry space, enveloping the Buddha army behind him. In an instant, the Buddhists and devils interchanged. Many of the Buddhists in the army started to radiate devil intent. Their fate seemed to be connected to the Grand Devil Lord. This is the usage of the Tao of fate. He fused the fate of all lives together with himself. This Grand Devil Lord is a substitute for the Western sovereign. Hua Taishu's expression was extremely ugly to behold. The Tao of fate that the Buddha sovereign cultivated was actually used by the Grand Devil Lord in such a tyrannical manner. The Grand Devil Lord glanced at Hua Taishu. After that, he stretched his hand out. At this instant, Hua Taishu only felt that his fate was about to be stripped away and controlled by the Grand Devil Lord. The light of samsara flashed around him as he entered the cycle of samsara, only then did he manage to escape from that giant hand of fate. I didn't expect you to have made so many preparations for this battle. The Grim Reaper sighed. He was truly shocked. This Western sovereign was simply too powerful. He had prepared for so many years, wanting to take down the heaven vault in this battle and unify the supreme ancient immortal realms. If it wasn't for the fact that experts on their side were as many as the clouds, they would have long since been defeated. This is the fate of the heavens. The day of the supreme ancient immortal realms being crowned king is already not far away. The Grand Devil Lord coldly spoke. His palm slammed out towards the Grim Reaper. This palm strike didn't contain any Tao, but it was a Tao itself. The Grand Devil Lord was the sovereign of all devils. Once, all devils in the world worshipped him and treated him as the Devil Lord. He was the orthodox path of the Devil Tao. His body was a Tao, the Tao of the Devil. This palm strike seemed to contain boundless might, able to suppress all Taos. It directly blasted towards the Grim Reaper. A gigantic divinity appeared behind the Grim Reaper. It was the Grim Reaper. Countless death imprints appeared on its gigantic body. After that, it ferociously lunged out. 1,000,000,000,000 death imprints gathered in its palm as it blasted towards the Grand Devil Lord. The palm imprints of the two of them slammed into each other. 1,000,000,000,000 death imprints erupted forth at the same instant, causing the entire sky to be filled with deathly silence. The might of death engulfed the starry space, but the devil palm imprints didn't retreat at all. The devil palm imprints that contained boundless might unceasingly destroyed the might of the death imprints. A wave of destructive energy gushed into the Grim Reaper's body, causing the Grim Reaper to groan in misery as he retreated explosively. Numerous bloody holes appeared on his body, it was extremely terrifying. If it wasn't for his powerful cultivation base, he would have long since died. The gigantic body of the Grand Devil Lord stood there, incomparably majestic, like an eternal existence. Behind him, many figures were directly enveloped by the death chi as they collapsed. Most probably, there were hundreds of thousands of them. They all died under the death seals of the Grim Reaper, and similarly, they died under the hands of the Grand Devil Lord. Their fates were all controlled by the Grand Devil Lord, connected to him. It's useless. It's the same as before. Unless we kill this entire army, only then would we be able to kill him. Hua Taishu's figure appeared, staring at the Grand Devil Lord. This was a true evil devil, like the true face of the God King of the Western Paradise. He used the lives of the masses to strengthen himself. The attack of the Grim Reaper should have landed on him, yet it was transferred to the army behind him. With a single strike, hundreds of thousands of experts died. The stronger the attack of the Grim Reaper, the more people would die. On the other side, Little Rascal flew towards God King Desolate. That heaven-devouring God King stared at him. After that, a terrifying claw stretched out, grabbing towards Little Rascal. "Father!" Little Rascal called out. "Careful, that is no longer your father." Hua Taishu roared. That incomparably gigantic claw had already arrived above Little Rascal. After which, a terrifying devouring vortex appeared, directly enveloping Little Rascal's gigantic body, wanting to devour him into the black hole at the center of the claw. Roar! Little Rascal let out a heaven-shaking roar. His body was enveloped by the vortex, being devoured bit by bit. He was incomparably disappointed, his heart was like dead ashes. Tears flowed from his eyes, his gaze was so cold. His roars shook the heavens and earth as his body continued to grow larger. But no matter how large he became, he was still enveloped by the vortex, slowly being devoured by the black hole. This black hole was like a boundless world. The fur on Little Rascal's body transformed into divine weapons that were incomparably sharp. They directly shot out from his body, piercing towards the black hole. These divine weapons that could penetrate through the heavens and earth seemed to have vanished without a trace after entering the vortex. God King Desolate was the heaven-devouring God King. His heaven-devouring Tao could devour everything in the world, including Tao arts and divine weapons. But at this moment, a divine Princess Kitamura appeared before God King Desolate. Behind her, the imperishable Heaven Lord's shadow manifested the imperishable divine diagram. This diagram contained the mysteries of the heavens and earth. It was formed after the imperishable Heaven Lord spent countless years comprehending the constellations in the sky. After that, the imperishable Heaven Lord transformed it into a Tao art that was cast onto her body. The diagram was formed from countless specks of light. Every single speck of light seemed like an independent divine imprint. At this moment, the countless specks of light flowed towards Princess Kitamura. When Princess Kitamura raised her slender hand and pointed at God King Desolate, a diagram seemed to appear on God King Desolate's colossal body as well. The structure of his colossal body seemed to be crystal clear. The countless specks of light were like starlight, covering every part of God King Desolate's body. Princess Kitamura's lily-white hands trembled. In that instant, time seemed to have come to a standstill. A shadow was peeled off from God King Desolation's gigantic body. It was as though his soul was about to be destroyed. At the same time, the constellations formed from boundless starlight were crazily destroying his body. God King Desolate couldn't be bothered with Little Rascal. His sharp claws directly smacked Little Rascal away as he let out a heaven-shaking roar of rage. The constellation diagram vanished bit by bit, entering his body. Princess Kitamura also didn't think that she would be able to kill the God King Desolate with a single strike. She instantly retreated, returning to her original position as her beautiful eyes glanced at Little Rascal. "Did you see it clearly? That is no longer your father's soul." Princess Kitamura's cold voice rang out. Earlier, the soul of the heaven-devouring titanic beast was peeled off. That shadow which seemed to be able to overlap with the heaven-devouring titanic beast wasn't a demonic beast. It was a human-shaped silhouette. Clearly, God King Desolate had already died. Right now, he was only a puppet. A large teardrop flowed from Little Rascal's eyes. He naturally saw that this body was completely the same as him. However, there was another soul controlling it. That soul was no longer his father. After you died, you were actually able to seal your power and borrow the power of others to release it. As expected of the imperishable Heaven Lord, as expected of the azure mystic immortal realms, the faith of the people of the world. Back then, it wasn't an injustice that she was injured by you. At this moment, the Grand Devil Lord spoke. God King Desolate and the Grand Devil Lord were both ancient God Kings. However, the Grand Devil Lord seemed to be controlled by the God King of the Western world. He could even unleash the power of the Tao of Fate and was clearly much stronger compared to the heaven-devouring God King. After all, the heaven-devouring God King was just a puppet while the Grand Devil Lord could borrow the power of countless experts behind him. But today, there will no longer be anyone who can obstruct me. The Grand Devil Lord coldly spoke. After that, numerous arms manifested. The Grand Devil Lord had 3 heads and 6 arms, resembling 3 devil sovereigns. His 3 heads and 6 arms attacked at the same time, devil god palm imprints capable of destroying the entire sky, blasting towards the Grim Reaper, imperishable Heaven Lord and Huataishu. Time and space seemed to freeze at this moment. Even the starry space seemed to have stopped. The Grand Devil Lord wanted to use the Tao of spacetime to stop the starry space. Only his devil god palm imprints could do so. Behind him, the experts of the Western World Army all transformed into devil cultivators. Numerous devil runes appeared on their bodies as they flew towards the Grand Devil Lord, strengthening him. This caused the Grand Devil Lord to be surrounded by countless devil runes, suppressing everything in the world. He seemed even more unexcelled in the world, like an invincible existence. Princess Kitamura gently blasted out with her palm. The imperishable star diagram appeared before her palm imprint. It was like there was a starry space before her, helping her to defend against the devil god's palm imprint. The countless devil runes and the star diagram clashed against each other, causing the starry space to explode as a beam of destructive light radiated outwards. Chapter 2021. At the same time when the Grand Devil Lord attacked Princess Kitamura, his 6 arms also attacked the Grim Reaper and Huataishu. The devil palm imprints contained boundless might. Devil characters revolved around them, causing the devil palm imprints to overlap endlessly. The Grim Reaper used his supremely powerful death spirit imprints to block. His body trembled once more as holes appeared on his body. Huataishu stabbed out with his samsara spear art, wanting to devour the devil's palm imprints. However, the layers of reincarnation were all shattered by the devil's palm imprints. Huataishu's body trembled violently as he coughed out a mouthful of blood, dyeing his robes red. However, his eyes were still as sharp as ever. He glanced at the countless lives behind the Grand Devil Lord as he sighed in his heart. If these lives weren't destroyed, he would never have a chance to defeat the Grand Devil Lord. In truth, in this clash, even more people died. They replaced the Grand Devil Lord to bear the brunt of the damage. Over 1 million lives were annihilated, causing one to feel pain in their hearts. However, the Grand Devil Lord had no expression on his face. As long as he could kill these people before him and take over the Heaven Vault, he wouldn't mind even if the lives of the Western world were sacrificed. What he wanted was the supreme ancient immortal realms. Yu Huang, just be ruthless. The imperishable Heaven Lord spoke. Princess Kitamura's body trembled. She couldn't bear to do this. Did she really have to annihilate all lives in the world? If so, what difference would there be between her and the devil before her eyes? However, if she didn't kill them, she wouldn't be able to defeat the Grand Devil Lord. They might die. Not only for them, everyone in the Heaven Vault might die as well. Hence, Princess Kitamura had a look of pain on her face. She was conflicted. Such a choice was too torturous. This wasn't just 1 or 2 people, it was countless lives. Roar! The heaven-devouring God King let out a low-sounding roar, as though reminding them that there was another God King level existence here. Yu Huang, if you don't kill them, more people will die. The Grim Reaper spoke. They are already controlled by the Devil Lord, becoming puppets. Their lives no longer have any meaning. Their fates have already been decided. The Grand Devil Lord spoke in a devilish voice. In the starry space, numerous devil kings descended unceasingly. These devil kings contained boundless devil runes and devilish light, sealing this starry space. Those devil runes and devilish light formed a devil god wall, sealing this entire space within. On the demon god wall, the demonic runes transformed into a supremely powerful force that rushed towards the three experts. At the same time, those devil kings blasted out terrifying demon god fists. Countless devils attacked at the same time, capable of shattering the starry sky. Buddha said, "If I don't enter hell, who would?" Hua Taishu pressed his palms together as golden light flickered. It was as though he had formed a golden Buddha body. His aura became even more resplendent. Although he still had long hair, at this moment, he exuded an ethereal aura, pure and holy. His long hair fluttered in the wind as he thought of his two lives. In his first life, he cultivated the Buddha path and samsara. But later on, he started to doubt his own cultivation. The Western paradise didn't seem to be as pure as he had imagined. He doubted his own Tao, doubted the Buddhas of the Western paradise until he betrayed them. In order to search for answers, he entered the cycle of samsara to cultivate anew. In this life, he no longer cultivated the Buddha path but he still cultivated the samsara energy. He gained insights in the mortal world, experiencing the bitterness and emotions of the world. From the myriad incarnations Immortal King, he could sense true love, awakening the memories of his past life. After cultivating for 2 lives, he could be considered to have comprehended the true intent of samsara and saw through the true intent of the Buddha Tao. What was a true Buddha? Was cultivating the Buddhic path in the Western paradise a Buddha? That wasn't Buddha. Buddhas were everywhere. Buddhas were Buddhas. Buddhas should transmit their goodwill, and if others followed them and did good deeds, they would also be Buddhas. They shouldn't be sitting before the Buddha statues and chanting sutras. Buddhahood was in the heart, it wasn't in cultivation. Golden light radiated forth, illuminating the boundless starry space. This was the true golden light of the Buddha Tao. In the air, the sound of chanting echoed out as numerous Buddha shadows appeared. In this space, a golden river of samsara manifested. This was the samsara river. The eyes of the Grim Reaper and Princess Kitamura flashed as they stared in that direction. Even the Grand Devil Lord was stunned. He stared in the direction of Hua Taishu only to see Hua Taishu's figure growing more and more illusory. He was burning himself, and gradually, his body completely vanished, vanishing into thin air like his soul was dissipating. After that, a samsara relic appeared in the starry space, directly flowing into the samsara river. At this moment, this samsara relic contained the true great Tao of samsara. Impudent! The Grand Devil Lord roared in rage. He naturally knew what Hua Taishu wanted to do. Golden light cascaded down, covering the entire starry space, enveloping the entire army within. The samsara river engulfed everything. When the experts were enveloped by the samsara river, their souls unceasingly floated into the samsara river, merging into it. Time reversal. The Grand Devil Lord roared in rage, reversing the flow of time. However, the samsara light dissipated bit by bit. This was the samsara of the great Tao. It wasn't controlled by the Tao of time, it merged into this world. Gradually, the golden samsara river vanished. As the souls of countless experts disappeared, the bodies of the Western army fell from the sky, all of them lost their lives. Their souls had already entered samsara. He actually unleashed a Tao that surpassed his own capabilities. The Grim Reaper stared at everything that vanished as shock filled his heart. Transforming his body into samsara, using his own life to deliver the lives of all living beings. Before this, he underwent a transformation, his Tao transformed. The imperishable Heaven Lord spoke. Compared to those bald donkeys, he is more like a true Buddha, protecting the lives of all living beings. The Grim Reaper sighed. Hua Taishu sacrificed himself for his Tao, transforming his body into samsara. However, although the Western army seemed to have died, they didn't die. Their souls entered samsara and were able to live another life. This was already the best ending. If not, their lives would always be controlled by the evil devils, becoming tools for others to fight for supremacy, constantly sending themselves to their graves. 2 lifetimes of cultivation, one of them was a Buddha. Now that he sacrificed himself for his Tao, to him, this can also be considered a great achievement. The Grim Reaper consoled himself. He stared at the Grand Devil Lord and coldly spoke, "Don't you Buddhas of the Western Paradise feel ashamed of your inferiority?" There were still some people behind the Grand Devil Lord who didn't die. They came from the Western Paradise and were heavenly deity-level existences. It wouldn't be so easy for them to die. But right now, their expressions were extremely unsightly. In his previous life, Hua Taishu was the Samsara Buddha sovereign. But in this life, he actually spoiled the plans of the Buddha sovereign, using samsara to deliver the lives of all living beings. Chapter 2022. Hua Taishu used the cycle of samsara to save the lives of everyone, allowing them to cultivate again in their next life. However, he spoiled the Buddha sovereign's grand plan. There were countless people in the Western World Army. Their faith and fate energy were all controlled by the Grand Devil Lord and used in combat, allowing him to possess incomparably tyrannical strength, allowing him to fight against 3 supreme experts alone. However, now that everyone has entered the cycle of samsara, the Grand Devil Lord's strength would be greatly reduced. He would only be left with his own strength. When the Buddhist sect traveled to the east, why did he bring the Western world's army to the heaven vault? It was because they could provide him with boundless strength. But all of this was spoiled by a Buddha Lord from the Western Paradise. Buddha spoke of karma. Wasn't this karma as well? Imperishable, back then, the strength of your soul was extremely rare. You heavily injured my soul and it took me countless years to recover. Today, you met a successor and passed your strength to her. As for me, I've returned once again. Now that the Western World Army no longer supports me, I want to see how powerful your soul energy is. The Grand Devil Lord spoke. It was like the Devil Lord was the incarnation of the God King of the Western world. Buddha and Devil were one body, he was a Buddha and a Devil at the same time. Princess Kitamura and the imperishable Heaven Lord stared at the Grand Devil Lord. After that, the Grand Devil Lord glanced at them. The entire world seemed to have stopped. In the eyes of the Grand Devil Lord, there seemed to be a devil lotus of darkness blooming. This devil lotus was incomparably black and was so pure, like it came from hell. It directly planted itself in Princess Kitamura's soul. In an instant, Princess Kitamura felt a black lotus appearing in her soul, wanting to devilize and devour her soul. Princess Kitamura's soul radiated an incomparably holy light, resplendent, resisting the corrosion of the devil lotus of darkness. At the same time, her tyrannical soul also attacked the Grand Devil Lord. In an instant, the Grand Devil Lord's soul manifested a supreme Tao art that could freeze everything, capable of destroying all souls. 2 God Kings fought using their souls. This was far more dangerous compared to a battle using their bodies and Tao arts. Once their souls were destroyed, their souls would dissipate. Also, if they were heavily injured, they wouldn't be able to recover within a short period of time. Both of them entered a miraculous state. In their eyes, there was only their opponent. They had no time to care about anything else. Roar! A thunderous roar rang out. The heaven-devouring God King continued flying towards Little Rascal. The Grim Reaper's silhouette flashed as he flew towards the battlefield, blocking the heaven-devouring God King's attack. He then spoke to Little Rascal, "You have no way to control the situation here. Go to another battlefield." Little Rascal roared in a low voice. After that, he turned and rushed towards the battlefield where Qin Wentian was fighting. Over there, other than Qin Wentian and Yu Changkong fighting, the other heavenly deities were all clashing intensely. This was a battle of deities. Let's go too. The Buddha lords and sacred Buddhas from the Western Paradise also rushed towards the battlefield. This place was a battle between 4 god kings, they wouldn't be able to interfere. Hence, they had to first destroy the heavenly deities of the Qin heavenly divine sect or capture them to disturb Qin Wentian and the others, or use them to threaten them. In that battlefield, the experts brought by Yu Changkong joined forces, but they were actually at an absolute disadvantage. They were ruthlessly suppressed. Although they had many heavenly deities, through these years, the Heaven Vault had nurtured an incomparably tyrannical army of heavenly deities. Among them, there were some extremely powerful existences. For example, Jun Mengchen. Although he was still a distance away from God Kings, he was already extremely powerful. His body was like a world of its own, and with a lift of his hand, he could control the Tao of the world. Although his attacks seemed simple, they contained boundless might. Any heavenly deities who obstructed him would be killed. Although the battle didn't last for too long, there were already several heavenly deities who died in his hands. And at this moment, when Jun Mengchen saw Hua Taishu dying in another battlefield, his aura grew even more frenzied as his killing intent swept across the starry space. Qin Wentian, him, Nam Huang Yunshi, Hua Taishu and the others were people who had experienced life and death together. When they first entered the city of ancient emperors, they fought together. Although Hua Taishu was a man of few words and his relationship with Hua Taishu was the weakest, Qin Wentian still admired Hua Taishu very much. Hua Taishu was someone who could clearly distinguish between gratitude and grudges, able to see right from wrong. According to his senior brother, back then when Qin Wentian acted against his younger brother, Qin Wentian managed to resolve the grudge between him and Hua Taishu. Because, Hua Taishu knew that the one who was in the wrong back then was his younger brother. His younger brother's evil deeds led to such an ending. If that time was said to be a matter of a clan, this time around, it concerned the lives of the world. In order to save the people of the world, Qin Wentian sacrificed himself for his Tao, transforming the cycle of samsara, allowing millions of troops to enter the cycle of samsara and have a next life. What sort of courage and conviction did this require? How could this not be admirable? Die! Jun Mengchen punched out again, landing on the prison god clan leader's body. The prison god clan leader used a supreme spatial Tao art to slash out, the starry space seemed about to be severed by his Tao. His eyes flashed with a ruthless intent, wanting to slash Jun Mengchen apart with his Tao. The boundless spatial blades seemed to be able to slay even gods. Jun Mengchen's fist collided with the spatial blades. That spatial blade could sever spacetime, yet it couldn't break through Jun Mengchen's fist. A terrifying light radiated from Jun Mengchen's fist. After that, the spatial blades frenziedly exploded, creating a spatial storm in the starry space. Upon seeing the fist might rushing towards him, the prison god clan leader twisted space, wanting to use it to flee. "This is my world." Jun Mengchen coldly spoke. World light engulfed the entire starry space. The prison god clan leader's body was slammed into the world barrier. Even if he borrowed the power of the distorted space, he still had no way to escape from this world. "Go to hell!" Jun Mengchen roared in rage. He punched out, causing the world to explode unceasingly. The heavens and earth crumbled, the entire world was about to be destroyed. The world-destroying might swept over everything, wanting to annihilate everything. The prison god clan leader was within it, and when he saw the power of annihilation descending upon him, he felt that this would be his doomsday. He was a hegemon of an era, a hegemon of an area, and was the controller of a peak power in the supreme ancient immortal realms. But now, he was actually killed by a junior. This world finally belonged to the later generations. This time around, the Heaven Vault battle caused him to feel extremely moved. Those juniors have already risen to such a level. They, the seniors of the supreme ancient immortal realms, were all destined to be eliminated. This was fate. The supreme ancient immortal realms was currently experiencing a cycle of reincarnation. The world exploded, the prison god clan leader was buried within, the hegemon of an era had fallen. This scene caused the hegemonic characters in the other battlefields to feel a chill in their hearts. They came here to fight against the Heaven Vault, but now, their doomsday had arrived. In truth, the previous Heaven Vault battle was the best opportunity. However, Qin Yuanfeng's domineering appearance disrupted everything. The Western Paradise also didn't manage to kill Qin Wentian. Hence, the second Heaven Vault battle took place today. But this time around, the Heaven Vault was much stronger compared to before. Jun Mengchen, Luotian Qianxue, Qin Kursin, the old sect leader of the Qianquan sect, which of them weren't supremely powerful existences? In fact, Luotian Chuan and the demon sovereigns of the demon god mountain, as well as Qin Wentian's subordinates, Qiyu and the others, all grew stronger. This caused them to be suppressed in this deity-level battle. But at this moment, the heavenly deities of the Western Paradise arrived. The Western Paradise had always been the strongest power in the supreme ancient immortal realms. They had the most number of heavenly deities, and now that reinforcements arrived, the morale of the heavenly deities soared. They slaughtered their way through the battlefield. Is there any use? Jun Mengchen's eyes were cold. He stepped out and directly moved towards the Western Paradise's camp. His might swept over everything. He was only a little weaker than a god king, but could it be that he couldn't even deal with heavenly deities? In this battlefield, he definitely couldn't allow his senior brother to be distracted. The heavenly deities of the Heaven Vault would naturally annihilate all the invaders. Little Rascal also rushed over with hatred, radiating a towering killing intent as he slaughtered his way towards the Western Paradise's Buddhas. His father died in the hands of the God King of the Western Paradise. He wanted revenge. Since he couldn't kill the God King, he would kill these bald donkeys. The Buddhas of the Western Paradise radiated Buddhic light as their golden bodies shone with resplendent light. Jun Mengchen and Little Rascal's heaven-shaking attacks were all blocked by the golden light. At this moment, Qiyu also rushed over. The battle character floated in the air, radiating a shocking battle intent. When he stared at these bald donkeys, his eyes were filled with coldness. Everyone hated the Western Paradise, their hatred even surpassed the hatred they had for Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong's evil was clear on the surface, he wasn't masked at all. He was evil and evil. However, the Western Paradise kept on saying that they were doing kindness, but they actually kidnapped the lives of millions of soldiers, truly bringing calamity to the world. They were the greatest evil in the world, their sins towered up to the heavens, causing them to lose their humanity. Go capture the two of them. A heavenly deity pointed to Qing'er and Mo Qingcheng. They knew that these two were Qin Wentian's wives. Right now, they were at a disadvantage. If they could capture Qin Wentian's wives, they would be able to reverse the situation. In an instant, several heavenly deities rushed towards Qing'er and Mo Qingcheng. Qing'er's eyes were cold. Her silhouette flashed, transforming into a beam of golden light. The space around her seemed to twist and distort. That heavenly deity who was rushing towards her was instantly shattered into countless pieces, dying within the twisting space. The white-robed killing goddess had long hair as white as snow. In another direction, Qin Wentian and Yu Changkong stood facing each other. The two of them seemed to have stopped moving, but they were actually fighting in the world of will. No one knew how dangerous their battle was. At this moment, in the world of will, the divine moon in the sky radiated a divine light of destruction, capable of destroying all chaos in the world. Qin Wentian slashed out billions of swords, but all of them were destroyed by the moonlight. His Tao of spacetime was also destroyed. This was the ability of the God King Moon God. Right now, its might was being unleashed in the hands of Yu Changkong. The Tao of the Moon God can destroy all chaos in the world. Yu Changkong coldly laughed. Qin Wentian stared at the defense before him being broken apart. He inclined his head and stared at the sky. All things in the world have mutual engenders and counters each other. It's the same for Taoists as well. There's no such thing as an invincible Tao in the world. Qin Wentian slowly spoke. His eyes stared at the starry space. A constellation seemed to have sensed his gaze. A dazzling light shot out from the constellation, shining onto the full moon. Seal the heavenly Tao. Qin Wentian spoke. The full moon in the sky seemed to be covered by a layer of shadow. Chapter 2023. Sealing the heavenly Taos, sealing the energy of the heavenly Taos. Borrowing the power of the constellations, a great sealing art was cast, casting a shadow over the full moon in the sky. After that, the moonlight gradually vanished, it was sealed. Yu Changkong inclined his head and stared at the sky as his evil eyes gleamed with a strange light. He didn't expect that Qin Wentian's Tao art had already reached such a tyrannical level. Qin Wentian directly borrowed the power of the constellations to seal the heavenly Taos, sealing the moon god's eyes. Qin Wentian's techniques could pierce through the heavens, directly reaching the astral river. This was the true might of a god king. I didn't expect that the first opponent I met in this life would be my greatest enemy. Yu Changkong coldly spoke. Qin Wentian was the first great enemy he met in this life. Before this, his enemies couldn't be considered much. Only Qin Wentian had humiliated him time and time again. After he awakened his second life, he initially thought that Qin Wentian would no longer be his opponent. But who would have thought that Qin Wentian was still his greatest enemy? Yu Changkong, you have committed too many evils and your sins are towering. You are a sinner. The cycle of the heavenly Taos will never tolerate you. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. Heavenly Taos. Ha! Yu Changkong laughed uproariously. How ridiculous. The heavenly Taos are merely a power that we can control. What do we cultivators pursue? It's to control the heavenly Taos, transcending everything. The heavens and earth are mine to control, why would we fear the cycle of the heavenly Taos? The battle today will be the ultimate battle in the supreme ancient immortal realms. It will determine the future of the supreme ancient immortal realms. When I take control of the supreme ancient immortal realms and become the king of the supreme ancient immortal realms, I will become the incarnation of the heavenly Taos and everyone will worship me. I won't play with you anymore. There's no meaning to a battle of wills. Since you already have the strength of a god king, let's enter the 9 heavenly layers and have a true battle. As the sound of Yu Changkong's voice faded, his gaze grew even more terrifying. His gaze pierced into Qin Wentian's eyes, actually breaking apart Qin Wentian's will and entering the state of truth. After that, his body soared up into the sky. Qin Wentian glanced at Yu Changkong. His divine sense swept through the surroundings. After that, he stepped out and chased after Yu Changkong. Since Yu Changkong wanted to fight against him, he would naturally accompany him. If Yu Changkong stayed here, he would be a great threat to the people around him. Right now, Jun Mingchen and the others all had an advantage. His father Qin Yuanfeng could also fight against Che Ho. In that case, his main goal was to kill Yu Changkong. In a battle between god kings, he had to finish off one of them first before he could break the stalemate. The two of them transformed into 2 beams of light that shot upwards. In the starry sky, many people in the floating palaces looked at the 2 beams of light, silently praying in their hearts that Qin Wentian could win. The battle today concerned their life and death, as well as the future of the supreme ancient immortal realms. The 2 beams of light descended into the 9 heavenly layers. In the starry sky, there were many constellations revolving around them. The 2 of them were separated by an immense distance and they stared at each other from afar. Yu Changkong's body suddenly grew incomparably gigantic, transforming into a giant. It was like his body was also a constellation. Behind Yu Changkong, there was a constellation. This constellation was extremely evil, it was a gigantic head that was extremely malevolent. It radiated a terrifying evil-attributed aura. Yu Changkong released his astral souls, fusing them together with the constellation. This constellation seemed to transform into his energy. Yu Changkong opened his mouth and drew in a deep breath. In an instant, countless heads appeared in the starry space as the astral light from the countless constellations in the surroundings all gathered towards those heads. They were all devoured by the constellations, absorbing the astral energy from the constellations for its own use. Qin Wentian also stood in front of a constellation. The astral gate in his sea of consciousness was like a starry sky. The astral light from the various constellations shot towards him. He who was bathed in boundless astral light radiated an incomparably holy aura. This was a true divinity, unexcelled in the world. The Tao of the Moon God has already become a part of me. Enjoy it well. Yu Changkong opened his mouth and spat out a breath. A moment later, the many heads spat out beams of Tao light at the same time. The beams of light from the countless constellations transformed into a Tao of destruction, wanting to destroy everything as they shot towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared at the boundless Tao destruction energy shooting over. A majestic figure appeared behind him. This figure was a great Buddha. In an instant, the light from the many Buddha Tao constellations in the starry sky shot over. Qin Wentian seemed to have transformed from the Tao into a Buddha, giving birth to an indestructible golden body. His entire body shone resplendently, shining with a treasured light, resembling an indestructible divine body. Many beams of Tao destruction energy blasted onto the golden body, yet they had no way to break it. Yu Changkong was an evil cultivator and cultivated evil arts. His Tao was most suitable to be broken by the Tao of the Buddhist path because Qin Wentian was releasing his Buddha Tao energy. The golden body isn't bad, but how long can it last? Yu Changkong coldly laughed. The constellations in the surroundings trembled as even more beams of Tao destruction energy blasted out. A crisp sound rang out from the golden body as cracks could be seen on it. The indestructible golden body would eventually shatter one day. At the same time Yu Changkong attacked, some of the evil constellations in the starry sky gave birth to terrifying devils. Their eyes traversed through space and entered Qin Wentian's sea of consciousness. Qin Wentian saw many terrifying scenes. In the air below, his side was defeated. Princess Kitamura was cruelly killed by the Grand Devil Lord. After that, the Grand Devil Lord led the Western Paradise to slaughter his friends and family. He saw the women he loved the most appearing before his eyes. Qin Er and Qin Cheng. Their bodies were covered in blood and their clothes were disheveled. They were pleading to him for help. His heart involuntarily trembled as his Buddha body trembled. Evil methods. Qin Wentian knew that this wasn't real. Although it seemed as though everything was happening before his eyes, it was all an illusion. His heart was wavering. The Tao of the Buddhist path could suppress all evil. The golden body radiated boundless holy Buddhic light, purifying all evil in the world. Even if it was evil in one's heart, it would be purified as well. Those scenes shattered unceasingly as reality appeared. He saw many evil devils devouring his heart. In the air, countless Buddhic constellations radiated light, not being corroded by the evil in the world. When Yu Changkong saw that Qin Wentian's defense was impenetrable, his gaze grew even colder. Many constellations shot their beams of light towards him as numerous evil devils appeared. In the surrounding starry space, many terrifying heads appeared. All of them opened their bloody mouths, wanting to devour the constellations in the sky. These countless heads expanded unceasingly, sealing the space. After that, they actually moved towards the location where Qin Wentian was at, wanting to devour a constellation as well. This scene was simply terrifying. The evil heads that were even larger than constellations swallowed down, wanting to devour Qin Wentian's Buddhic body. The gigantic Buddha remained the same. Qin Wentian closed his eyes and was incomparably quiet, allowing the gigantic heads of darkness to devour his Buddha body. The surrounding space turned dark as he was devoured by the endless darkness. Many evil liquids flowed about, corroding the Buddha body, wanting to devour everything. However, the Buddhic light grew even more resplendent. The Buddha body continued to grow larger and larger, wanting to break through the darkness. Countless arms appeared on the Buddha body, resembling 1,000-armed Buddha. Each of the arms wielded a spacetime sword of the Buddhist path, their light illuminating the past and present. Evil Slayer. A voice rang out. The millions of Buddha arms brandished their swords at the same time. Each sword was an evil slayer sword, a holy sword of the Buddhist path. Each sword contained the power of time and space, a fusion of the Buddhist Tao and the Tao of spacetime. Each of the arms slashed out billions of spacetime sword rivers. With millions of arms, how many swords could they slash out? In an instant, billions of beams of swords tore the darkness apart. Cracks appeared in the deep and boundless darkness, which was then torn apart bit by bit. Boundless holy light was imprinted on it, incomparably dazzling. In the next moment, the sword will erupted, and the huge devouring sky devourer's head exploded like a star being destroyed. The galaxy was turbulent, and many terrifying dark cracks appeared. There were beams of incomparably dazzling light in the 9 heavens. Even the people in the floating palaces below and those who were fighting could see the phenomenon in the 9 heavens. This scene was too resplendent. It was like millions of beams of light erupted at the same time, wanting to sever the astral river. This sword should be Wentian's sword, right? Many of Qin Wentian's loved ones resided in the floating palaces. Qin Wentian was an evil cultivator and only Qin Wentian would be able to slash out such a resplendent sword strike. Right now, he was already at the God King level and could sever constellations with a single sword strike. Yu Chankong's devouring energy was destroyed. His aura fluctuated slightly as he stared at Qin Wentian's 1,000-armed Buddha form. Golden light radiated from him, resembling a Buddha that could destroy all evil in the world. Qin Wentian had fused his spacetime sword Tao with the Buddha Tao. Evil devils of the heavens. Yu Chankong's eyes were incomparably cold. The constellations of the evil devils seemed to be summoned. Numerous terrifying evil devils appeared in the air, standing in different locations. However, all of them were at the location where the demon king Qin Wentian was at. Their eyes were filled with terror. Yu Chankong stood there like a true evil king. All the evil devils in the world listened to his commands. Chapter 2024. In the heaven vault, astral light from the 9 heavenly layers cascaded down on the boundless starry space. It was resplendent and majestic. There were several battlefields in the heaven vault, all of them were so magnificent. The peak experts of the supreme ancient immortal realms were all gathered here, fighting at the peak. Qin Wentian and Yu Chankong fought in the 9 heavenly layers while Qin Yuanfeng and Che Ho fought in the starry space. The sole battle between the Grand Devil Lord and Princess Kitamura, although there wasn't too much of a commotion, the radiance from the two of them illuminated the boundless starry space. Princess Kitamura's radiance was pure and holy while the Grand Devil Lord's radiance was darkness. Black lotuses appeared in the sky, one bright and one dark. The Grim Reaper and the heaven-devouring God King were in another battlefield. Their clashes shook the heavens and earth, but no matter how the crazy old freak attacked, he couldn't kill the heaven-devouring God King. These were all battles between God Kings. Even if there was a disparity between them and ancient God Kings, the disparity wouldn't be too great. Other than them, it was the deity-level battle between the various heavenly deities. That battlefield was the most chaotic and the number of experts was the highest. Over 100 heavenly deities were participating, almost all the heavenly deities of the supreme ancient immortal realms were gathered here. There would occasionally be heavenly deities dying. All of them were lofty characters who were famous for a period of time, but in this battlefield, ordinary heavenly deities were the most inconspicuous existences. After the Buddhas from the Western Paradise participated in this deity-level battle, although they managed to alleviate the deities of the various hegemonic powers, they still couldn't save the situation. Not long after, in this deity-level battle, the Heaven Vault side gradually revealed their dominance, gaining the upper hand. The deities of the Heaven Vault were simply too powerful, they weren't at an ordinary level. There was an old monster in the god-destroying palace. The old sect leader of the Qiankuan sect was able to deal with him, and the other powers like the Five Elements sect also had trump cards. However, Qiyu, Qin Kursin and the others were more than enough to deal with them. In terms of number of heavenly deities, the Heaven Vault also had a crushing advantage. During these years, another batch of heavenly deities appeared. Mo Qingqing, Bai Wuya, Emperor Qinbian and the others were all heavenly deities. From this, one could very well imagine how terrifying the number of heavenly deities in the Heaven Vault was. There were a few powerful Buddha lords from the Western Paradise who participated in the battle, and their strength was comparable to the hegemonic powers of the other hegemonic powers. In fact, there were even two Buddha lords whose strength was comparable to an old monster like the old Qiankuan sect leader. From this, one could see how deep their foundations were. However, after Jun Mengchen killed the prison god clan leader, he would deal with one of them while Little Rascal would deal with the other. Even for characters at the level of an old monster, they were no longer able to win against Jun Mengchen and Little Rascal. As for the other Buddha lords and sacred Buddhas, the Devil Hall lords of the myriad Devil Islands, Bai Qing, the 5 demon sovereigns and the other experts, they were no longer the same as they were in the past. This battlefield of deities could be said to be a scene that could shake the heavens and earth, causing ghosts and gods to weep. Blood rained down, the scene was extremely tragic. Jun Mengchen was currently fighting against a Buddha lord. He unleashed the Tao of the world, causing his might to shake the heavens. Although each of his attacks seemed ordinary, they contained the power of the world itself. When he unleashed his strongest attack, it was like the power of the world was infused into his body, capable of suppressing everything. Despite how strong the Buddha Lord was, he was still ruthlessly suppressed. If it wasn't for the Buddha Lord's powerful Dharma, he would have long since been killed. In Little Rascal's battlefield, the eyes of the heaven-devouring giant beast were already red from killing. This was hatred. The Western world had killed his parents. From this, one could very well imagine how strong his anger was. He devoured the energy of the constellations in the sky, and his body was a heavenly Tao body that was indestructible and powerful to the extreme. His close combat attacks were unstoppable, and his Tao of devouring could cause his opponents to feel fear in their hearts. Even for Qin, she was much stronger compared to the first time they fought in the Heaven Vault. Her Tao art had reached the acme of perfection, allowing her to kill formlessly. Even her shadow was hard to catch. Bai Qing was also very strong, she was able to suppress her opponent. Old poisonous creature, you have chosen a path of no return, following Yu Changkong. Do you think he has your lives in his eyes? Even if he really won and seized the Heaven Vault, where would his future be? Following Yu Changkong, you would be on tenterhooks, not knowing how you died. Could it be that you are not clear what sort of character God King Gu is? At this moment, a voice rang out from another battlefield. The old sect leader of the Qiankuan sect was fighting against the old palace lord of the God Extermination Palace. The poisonous creatures in the air churned wildly. The old sect leader of the Qiankuan sect shone with universe light, isolating himself from the corrosive poison. Don't think about shaking my state of heart. The old palace lord of the God Extermination Palace was as skinny as a match. He stared at the old sect leader and spoke, "What about you? I believe you were forced to choose a side, right? No matter what, Yu Changkong is someone who has the Tao of 2 God Kings. Qin Wentian won't be able to deal with him. In this battle, the Heaven Vault will be destroyed for sure. Can't you see it?" Leaving aside the other battlefield, at the very least, you guys no longer have a chance in this battlefield. The old sect leader spoke again. The words of the two of them seemed to be mutually attacking each other. Indeed, this battle was extremely difficult for everyone. They have already chosen a side. Once their side lost, they knew very well what the consequences would be. They would be annihilation. But at the very least, in the battlefield of heavenly deities, the Qin heavenly divine sect had the advantage. Hence, the old sect leader had a psychological advantage. The eyes of the old poisonous creature gleamed with a crafty light. In truth, he already had the thought of retreating in his heart. Because, they might not be able to wait until the victor of the battle against Yu Changkong was determined. Not only for him, at this moment, many experts from the hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms also wanted to retreat. If they continued fighting, they would all die here. At this moment, the sound of an intense collision rang out, shaking the heavens and earth. In the divine senses of many people, they saw boundless golden light radiating forth as a gigantic golden ancient Buddha exploded. The golden light radiated together with the light of the world, incomparably resplendent. However, this was because of the death of a Buddha Lord. That Buddha Lord transformed into a relic, wanting to use it to flee. However, how would Jun Mengchen give him the chance to do so? With a grab of his hand, his world energy directly grabbed the relic and crushed it. Let you guys reincarnate so that you can harm the masses again. Jun Mengchen coldly spoke. He hated these fake Buddhas of the Western paradise to the extreme. He wanted to kill them all, only then would he be able to return a world of light to the Buddhist Tao. The Buddhist Tao of the supreme ancient immortal realms had to be completely overturned. The god monarchs of the universe region and the Western paradise have ruled the Western world for countless years. They have long caused the Buddhist Tao to become tainted. They could only destroy it and start anew. Not good. Many heavenly deities mused silently. Jun Mengchen killed that Buddha Lord and turned to deal with the others. Who would be able to contend against him? As expected, Jun Mengchen let out a long howl. He was like a dragon breaking free from its reins, directly punching towards a heavenly deity who was currently in combat. That heavenly deity hurriedly tried to block, but Jun Mengchen's fist contained a grand completion world Tao within it. With a single punch, that heavenly deity's soul was shattered. He didn't even have the time to scream. His divine sense enveloped the battlefield. When he saw a few heavenly deities dealing with Qing, and Mo Qingchen, wanting to capture them first, rage flashed in his eyes. With a step, he soared through the air, using his world Tao to lock down this area. Not long after, the corpses of a few heavenly deities could be seen on the battlefield. Jun Mengchen's battle naturally couldn't be hidden from the heavenly deities who were fighting. Those heavenly deities who invaded the heaven vault all felt a chill in their hearts. The God King level battles haven't ended yet, but their side already couldn't hold on any longer. They couldn't afford to drag this out. If this continued, the entire army would be wiped out, and they would all die here. Retreat. The old Empyrean of the God Extermination Palace was an old monster who has lived for countless years. When he saw that the situation was completely one-sided, he decisively gave the order to retreat. His entire body was engulfed by poison qi. The poison qi circulated rapidly in the air, it was very difficult to locate his location. Retreat. The few remaining heavenly deities of the God Extermination Palace all set up poison qi and retreated from the battlefield. When they saw this scene, the hearts of the heavenly deities in the battlefield instantly fell into chaos. The victor of the battle hasn't been decided yet, but the God Extermination Palace has already retreated. This meant that this deity-level battle has already ended prematurely. Vile creatures, even if you all retreat, after my Western paradise unifies the supreme ancient immortal realms, who would be able to escape? A Buddhist cultivator from the Western paradise roared in rage. You all need to be alive first. A cold voice rang out, ringing out in the hearts of everyone, causing many to feel their hearts trembling. They have cultivated for countless years. But today, would they have to die together with others? For the sake of Yuchongkong or the ambition of the Western Paradise? It would still be fine if they could see a glimmer of hope for victory. But now, the battlefield was confusing, and the outcome was unknown. This battlefield had already collapsed. If they continued to fight, they might die. If they couldn't wait for the God King to decide the victor, then what were they waiting for? The heavenly deities who were originally at a disadvantage could very well imagine what kind of situation they would face. They would completely collapse and be hunted down. Hence, a vicious cycle ensued. The heavenly deities started to flee, all of them prepared to flee. Vile creatures. The Buddhist cultivators from the Western Paradise roared in rage. They wouldn't be able to escape. All of their fates were controlled by the Buddha sovereign. Kill them, don't spare them. Jun Mengchen's figure was like lightning as he chased after them. The eyes of the heavenly deities from the Qin heavenly divine sect flashed with coldness. Did they want to flee after being defeated? These experts had launched a war against the Heaven Vault twice, killing their way into the Heaven Vault. How could they let them off so easily? If they could spare one, they would kill one. The battle between heavenly deities transformed into an intense pursuit. The invading heavenly deities frenziedly fled for their lives. However, how could it be so easy for them to flee when facing the heavenly deities of the Qin heavenly divine sect? The vast majority of heavenly deities were forced to stay behind. They who had no heart to continue fighting became even weaker and were easily killed. Very swiftly, the deity-level battle in this region seemed to be coming to an end. The Buddhist cultivators from the Western Paradise also couldn't hold on any longer. Little Rascal transformed into a gigantic beast and started a massacre. Under his sharp claws, countless heavenly deities died. In the starry space, divine blood flowed unceasingly. After a period of time, the intense deity-level battle finally ended. The battlefield in the starry space seemed to have regained its calm. However, the heavenly deities of the Qin heavenly divine sect understood that the true battle was far from over. What truly determined the fate of the Heaven Vault and the supreme ancient immortal realms was none other than the 4 battles in the starry space. A few managed to escape. Jun Mengchen coldly. After that, he inclined his head and stared at the starry space. It's already not bad that we can obtain a complete victory here. Next, we will have to depend on Wentian and the others. Luo Shenchuan also stared at the starry space. Mo Qincheng, and the others stared at the resplendent 9 heavenly layers. Their beautiful eyes were filled with nervousness, they were even more nervous compared to their own battles. Chapter 2025. The 9 heavenly layers of astral rivers hung high up in the sky, boundless and boundless. The various heavenly deities were all bathed in the starlight. Although they obtained a complete victory in this deity-level battle, they weren't too excited. Qin Wentian fought for so many years for them to cultivate. Also, they could comprehend the Tao of constellations at any time in the Heaven Vault, creating an army of heavenly deities. The heavenly deities of the past also grew stronger. Under such an environment, if they still couldn't obtain victory in a deity-level battle, how would they have the face to meet Qin Wentian again? Victory in the deity-level battle was only natural. There was nothing to be happy about. Everyone understood that the battle between the 8 heavenly deities in the starry space was the true final battle. Under the starlight, the wind gusted by, fluttering Mo Qingqing's long hair. After she broke through to the heavenly deity realm, her aura grew even more outstanding. She was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, breathtaking beyond compare. Beside Mo Qingqing, Yi Qianyu, Luoshan Qianxue, Qin Kursin, the southern phoenix matriarch, Namhuang Yunxi, Nanfeng Xinga, Bai Qin and the other maidens were all so beautiful. They stood in different locations but their gazes were all staring at the same direction. Wentian Gige, you have to win no matter what. Bai Qin softly spoke, praying for Qin Wentian. She hated herself for not being able to participate in the battle of that level. She wouldn't be able to help her Qin Wentian engage. I will. Qin Er's beautiful eyes were cold, staring at the starry space. Her white hair fluttered in the wind, but her gaze was filled with determination. Wentian will win. He promised me and elder sister Qin that he would bring us to view the scenery of the supreme ancient immortal realms. A radiant smile appeared on Mo Qingqing's face. She firmly believed that Qin Wentian would be able to defeat his opponent. They have experienced so much suffering and passed through each hurdle. This would be the final battle. After the victor of this battle, the sky and the seas would be boundless. From now onwards, they would truly be able to roam freely in the supreme ancient immortal realms without any restrictions. They would view the scenery of the supreme ancient immortal realms together, roaming through every corner of the supreme ancient immortal realms, every mountain range, every river, slowly admiring the beautiful scenery. This was what Qin Wentian promised her. He would definitely accomplish it. Luotian Qianxue glanced at the beautiful young woman beside her. She stretched out her hand and held Mo Qingqing's hand as she gently smiled. Naturally, if he dares to keep the appointment, I won't recognize him as my son anymore. Thank you, mother. Wentian also said that he would bring father and mother along with him. He said that ever since he reunited with father and mother, he spent most of his time cultivating and had no time to truly accompany father and mother. He also said that he would make up for everything. After everything is over, our family should go out and enjoy the scenery of the world. Mo Qingqing smiled sweetly. All right. Luotian Qianxue's eyes were a little wet. She nodded heavily as many thoughts of the future flashed through her mind. Everything was so beautiful. In truth, not only for Qin Wentian, she and Qin Yuanfeng had always been bearing pressure. First, it was the hatred of the Qin clan. After they exited the divine mausoleum and settled the grudge between them, they had to face the war of supremacy in the supreme ancient immortal realms. They had never truly had peace before. She also hoped for the day when they could be free from all restraints, tossing aside everything and enjoying the happiness of a family. But the prerequisite for all of this was that they had to win the battle in the air. Regardless of her son Qin Wentian's battle or her husband Qin Yuanfeng's battle, their opponents were all extremely terrifying. One of them was the evilest god king out of the 8 god kings of the supreme ancient immortal realms. He even devoured the Tao of the moon god. As for the other, he was a human-shaped divine weapon born from the heavens and earth, controlling the Tao of chaos. At this moment, their hearts were all stretched taut as they silently prayed in their hearts. That last Yu Huang has to win as well. Luotian Qianxue glanced at Princess Kitamura's battlefield. Naturally, elder sister Yu Huang will definitely win. After everything ends, I will get Wentian to hold an even grander wedding ceremony to marry elder sister Yu Huang. Mo Qingqing gently smiled. She stared at Princess Kitamura's battlefield as she spoke of the beautiful future. How could she not understand Yu Huang's feelings for Wentian? During the first invasion of the supreme ancient immortal realms, it was Yu Huang who saved everyone and narrowly lost her life. Right now, she once again risked her life to fight. In addition, her opponent seemed to be the strongest existence in the supreme ancient immortal realms. The God King of the Universe region was a monster that even the 3 supreme experts couldn't kill. If they were the slightest bit careless, they would be consigned to eternal damnation. When everyone heard Mo Qingqing's gentle words, they felt their hearts being moved. All of them also gave their blessings, hoping that the lovers would be able to be together. Silly child. Luotian Qianxue tightened her grip on Mo Qingqing's hand. She softly spoke, Wentian is able to encounter such good women like you all. If he doesn't do well, how can he face all of you? The people at the side all felt many emotions in their hearts. Nam Huang Yinshi, Nanfeng Xinga and the others all felt their hearts softening. All of them were silently praying. Right now, they only hoped that Qin Wentian would be safe and return victorious. From then on, there would no longer be any trouble in the supreme ancient immortal realms. Elder brother will be fine. Luo Shenlei also had a radiant smile on her face. She stared at everyone. Why are all of you so tense? You guys have to believe in elder brother. How can he be defeated? MHM, senior brother will be fine. Jun Mengchen nodded. Many people had relaxed expressions on their faces, but in truth, they were still filled with worry in their hearts. How could they be at ease? Such a battle would determine their fates. Their hearts had already flown into the boundless starry space, accompanying Qin Wentian and the others as they fought together. Above the sky, in the battlefield of the 9 heavenly layers, numerous evil devils surrounded Qin Wentian. Each of them was incomparably gigantic, resembling an evil god. Also, their forms were all different. There were powerful evil devils with 9 heads and many arms. There were also evil devils whose eyes gleamed with a towering blood-red light. There were also evil devils that radiated an aura that could corrode everything. These evil devils all seemed to contain different daos, and each of them was extremely terrifying, possessing terrifying destructive might. And at this moment, Qin Wentian was surrounded by the evil devils. These devils were all summoned by Yu Changkong. Yu Changkong was like the king of all evil devils. Qin Wentian stared at the evil devils. The Buddhic light radiating from him grew even more intense. The holy light seemed to want to purify all evil in the world. However, at this moment, he saw the eyes of a pair of evil devils. In the next instant, many illusions appeared in his mind as he saw countless terrifying scenes. After he was killed by the evil devils, he saw the miserable state of his family and friends. They were all slaughtered, their fates were extremely miserable. He saw Yu Huang suffering a fate worse than death. He saw the miserable fates of Qin Er and Qin Cheng. These scenes unceasingly gnawed away at his heart. This was also the thing he was most afraid of. Sometimes, death wasn't the most terrifying thing. The most terrifying thing was that as he died, there would be even more terrifying things waiting for him, waiting for his loved ones. This is the power of a heart devil, using illusions to summon my heart devil. Qin Wentian's heart was like a clear mirror. Buddha's chants rang out as the Buddhic light grew stronger, expelling the heart devil. What was a heart devil? If there was fear in a person's heart, there would naturally be a heart devil. What was the purpose of Qin Wentian's cultivation? It was because he wanted to be free and unfettered, so that his family wouldn't be threatened by others, so that they could roam freely in this world. What he was most afraid of wasn't his own death, but rather, the fate of his family after his death. The heart devil took advantage of this opportunity to affect his heart. Everyone would have a heart devil. The power of the evil devils was all-pervasive. Kill. Yu Changkong's eyes gleamed with a terrifying evil light. The evil devils in the air all acted, rushing towards Qin Wentian, taking the opportunity when Qin Wentian was being influenced by the heart devil to attack. Yu Changkong naturally understood that given Qin Wentian's current cultivation base, the heart devil would only be able to obstruct him for a short period of time. It was impossible for him to use the heart devil to completely deal with Qin Wentian. Only when the heart devil interfered with Qin Wentian would there be a chance to kill him. The evil devils in the air unleashed all sorts of evil arts, killing towards a single direction. The Buddhic light was corroded by the evil light, the sky was on the verge of exploding. When the boundless evil energy blasted into the gigantic golden body behind Qin Wentian, cracks appeared on it. Slash! Qin Wentian roared in rage. He closed his eyes and slashed out. His millions of arms slashed out resplendent beams of Buddhic sword light, transforming into a resplendent sword river. Each beam of sword light contained the Tao of spacetime, as well as the Buddhic arts of light that could purify everything. Many gigantic bodies of the evil devils were torn apart, but there were simply too many of them and they were too strong. It was impossible to exterminate them all. That evil space seemed to have transformed into hell, buried in the starry space. Many evil ghosts and devils howled as a corrosive energy bore down on Qin Wenqian's golden body, invading it bit by bit. Yu Changkong. Qin Wenqian's silhouette was ice cold. The golden Buddhic light around him faded away, turning incomparably black. His gigantic golden body actually transformed into a body of darkness in an instant. In an instant, devil might towered up into the sky, tyrannical to the extreme. This caused Yu Changkong to be stunned. Seems like it wasn't only the bald donkey from the Western paradise who had a body of Buddha and devil. Qin Wenqian was actually one as well, instantly switching between them. Chapter 2026. Yu Changkong stared at the gigantic devil that appeared. This devil was like the king of 10,000 devils. Their attacks landed on his body, wanting to tear it apart. However, in the next instant, his devil body actually revived. It was like an undying body. If one wanted to kill him, they would have to completely destroy him, destroying both his body and soul. There were still powerful evil devils that used their heart devils to attack Qin Wenqian. Qin Wenqian inclined his head, his devil body was still growing larger. His eyes were pitch black, like a destructive abyss, with no end to it. From his mouth, a bone-chilling devil voice rang out, "I'm originally a devil, why would I fear heart devils?" As he spoke, a terrifying devil might engulf the starry space. The gigantic bodies of the evil devils trembled as a formless Tao art seemed to be controlling everything. What Tao art is this? Yu Changkong frowned. Qin Wenqian's devil Tao energy seemed to have a powerful control ability, causing the movements of the evil devils to slow down. His gaze was extremely evil, terrifying to the extreme. With a single glance, the evil devils trembled as they unleashed even more terrifying devil Tao arts. A gigantic spear of darkness pierced through the air, directly piercing through the souls of people. The gigantic black spear in the center seemed to be the spear of a ghost god, containing the might to break Taos. This Tao art was originally the power of the moon god, yet it was being unleashed by Qin Wenqian. Other than the devil wielding the spear, there was also a headless gigantic devil wielding a blood-colored axe that cleaved apart the heavens. Even the astral river was about to be cleaved apart by that axe. This scene was too terrifying. Qin Wenqian's devil form stood in the middle of all the evil devils as they frenziedly attacked him. Qin Wenqian's gaze was as terrifying as ever. The darkness in his eyes enveloped the heavens, directly shooting into the eyes of some of the evil devils. "Submit to me." A voice like that of a devil king rang out, causing the evil devils to tremble even more violently. Qin Wenqian's devil form stretched out his hands and grabbed towards the sky. A supreme might manifested, able to dominate everything, causing all lives to submit. Boundless devil light cascaded down, landing on him. This was the light from the constellations of the devil path. Break! The devil let out a thunderous roar, causing the heavens to tremble and the astral river to shatter. The gigantic bodies of the devils trembled violently. The devil wielding the spear trembled as well. After that, the spear was devoured by a terrifying devil energy, shattering inch by inch. That devil energy then descended onto his body, grinding his gigantic body apart. The devil howled, but he couldn't defend against that power at all. The hand of the headless devil wielding the gigantic axe also stiffened. It was as though he couldn't hold the axe stably. After that, his arm shattered as a terrifying formless devil might tore apart his arm bit by bit. After that, his entire body was destroyed as well. All the devils in the air trembled and howled, the sky shook as boundless devil might gushed forth violently. The expression of Yu Changkong who was controlling the devils grew even more terrifying. What devil Tao energy was this? It was actually so powerful. From Qin Wenqian's energy, he could sense devil might, as well as the power of spacetime. Spacetime contained the power of time, as well as the power of dimensional space. As for devil Tao energy, it was a tyrannical devil might that dominated all Taos. This caused Yu Changkong to recall a person, a supremely terrifying existence. That existence was once on the same level as the Grand Devil Lord, an extremely powerful Devil Lord. His title was the Devil Lord, but after that, he vanished. It was rumored that his body transformed into a constellation, transcending everything. There were also people who said that he was killed by the Grand Devil Lord. In any case, he was an extremely ancient existence. If he was still alive, there would have been 9 God Kings in the supreme ancient immortal realms and 2 God Kings of the Devil Path. But although he vanished, it was impossible for him to bring everything away with him. Maybe, he left behind some inheritances in the world. At this moment, the power Qin Wentian unleashed seemed to contain some of his inheritances. Could it be that some of his inheritances were obtained by Qin Wentian? This Qin Wentian's luck was simply too good. He had so many inheritances on him. Right now, he was proficient in the Taos of the heavens, spacetime, Buddha, devil, ceiling, and so on. It was like he was omnipotent and extremely difficult to deal with. That bald donkey from the Western Paradise returned after becoming much stronger. Who would have thought that he would also give Qin Wentian some time, allowing him to grow to a level where he could fight against God Kings. Qin Wentian's strength was comparable to ancient God Kings. I truly want to see how strong you are exactly. Yu Changkong's eyes were cold, filled with evil. His body transformed into boundless black fog that enveloped the sky. Even the astral light dimmed. The countless evil devils continued to rush towards Qin Wentian, but they were all destroyed by Qin Wentian. But at this moment, a figure suddenly appeared from the black fog, causing Qin Wentian's eyes to tremble. Little Yi. Qin Wentian's devil eyes trembled as he stared at the figure in the black fog. Many tentacles were grabbing onto little Ye's arms and legs. Godfather, save me. Fan Ye's tears flowed like rain as she sobbed unceasingly. Godfather, save me. Impossible, this is an illusion Dao again. It's a heart devil. Qin Wentian's devil eyes were extremely terrifying. But even if this was an illusion, it was no different from reality. It was like a real scene. Godfather, Godfather. Little Yi screamed in a frenzy. The black fog transformed into sharp blades that pierced into her body bit by bit, and also pierced into Qin Wentian's heart. He had always felt that he had let down Little Yi, let down Fan Luan Xian Xian. Now that he saw such a scene, one could very well imagine how much pain he felt in his heart. Back then, Little Yi was killed by Yu Changkong. Could she have survived using another method? Qin Wentian felt that there was a chance in his heart. Puchi. A beam of dark devil sword light slashed apart an astral river. Qin Wentian stepped out, entering the black fog. So what if this was an illusion? Even if he knew it was fake, he still had to enter. Little Yi, Godfather has let you down. Qin Wentian walked to the side of Fan Yi and stretched out his hand, wanting to touch her face. But at this moment, Fan Ye's body transformed into black fog and vanished. A look of pain flashed in Qin Wentian's eyes. He wasn't shocked because he knew this was fake. But even so, he still wanted to stretch his hand out and touch that illusory body. The surrounding space was filled with countless devils. Darkness had already enveloped the entire world. Qin Wentian raised his head and saw that the sky was dark and devoid of light. It was as if he had walked right into a trap. He walked into the center of the black fog, where there were countless devils. You are courting death. Yu Changkong's face appeared in all directions, appearing everywhere. If one looked from the outside, they would see an incomparably gigantic head of evil. This head was the size of a constellation and its eyes gleamed with a terrifying evil light. And right now, Qin Wentian was precisely inside this head. Over there. Below, the people in the starry space used their divine senses to sense that head. When they saw Qin Wentian entering it, all of them had worried looks on their faces. How could this be? Qin Wentian clearly knew that the head was fake, why did he still want to enter? Was this his obsession? Could it be that he still couldn't let it go? However, they also knew that Qin Wentian was such a person. Sometimes, he would let his emotions affect his decisions, disregarding the consequences. He had always been like this. Even though he was now a heavenly deity, comparable to god kings, he was still like this. He had never changed. Wentian. Mo Qingqing's smiling eyes flickered with tears. She was truly very worried and afraid. All of Qin Wentian's facade, including his relaxed smile, were all fake. I'll go and help senior brother. Jun Mingchen stepped out, flying towards the sky. Roar! Little rascal rushed out, wanting to go as well. Don't go. You guys won't be able to control the situation. It's better to leave it to Wentian. Trust him. Bai Wuya spoke softly. At this moment, they couldn't allow Qin Wentian to be distracted. Outside the heaven vault, at this moment, there were people who entered. Before this, during the battle outside, the Western Paradise descended. A single strike from them contained world-destroying might. Qin Wentian used an extremely tyrannical space-time Dao art to teleport them away. After that, no one dared to get close to the battlefield, let alone enter the heaven vault. Although right now, the heaven vault was opened and the heaven vault's entrance was destroyed. But at this moment, two people entered the battlefield. One was an old man and the other was a young man. After they entered the heaven vault, they inclined their heads and stared at the sky. Can he win? The young man exuded a demonic aura as he asked. I don't know. The old man shook his head. He truly had no idea. A battle at this level has already surpassed his cultivation realm. This was what he hoped to see in the past. Qin Wentian has indeed grown to a level that surpassed him. Chapter 2027. In the boundless starry space, the gigantic demonic head trembled. This head resembled a demonic star. The eyes on the head gleamed with a terrifying light, causing people to feel fear in their hearts. Jun Mingchen's divine sense sensed the scene in the 9 heavenly layers. His body trembled, feeling some reluctance. Could it be that he couldn't help his senior brother at all? He had worked so hard in his cultivation, but was his strength still weak now? He was unwilling. In his mind, there was an extremely strong obsession, an obsession that he was unwilling to accept. What if something happened to senior brother Qin in this battle? Could he only sit here and wait for death? Could he watch as all his friends and family died? Could he watch as the entire supreme ancient immortal realms was ruled by the evil bald donkey and Yu Changkong? He, Jun Mingchen, was unwilling to see such a situation. He clenched his fists tightly, causing cracking sounds to ring out. His eyes were tightly shut as a look of struggle could be seen on his face. In the starry space, boundless astral light cascaded down on him. That majestic starry space was filled with boundless profoundness. At this moment, Jun Mingchen felt like he was in a truly boundless world. It felt like all the worlds in the world were cascading down on him. In this world, not only could he see the evil head constellation in the 9 heavenly layers, he could also see a few other battles. Qin Yuanfeng and Che Ho were clashing violently. Everyone is working hard. Jun Mingchen silently mused. Qin Yuanfeng was proficient in the force of the 6 paths. The 6 paths were something he created himself, including Devour, Death, Samsara, Dimension, and other supreme Daos. When the force of the 6 paths was unleashed together, it transformed into a complete heavenly Dao. The force of the 6 paths clashed against Che Ho's pseudo-chaos grand Dao. It wasn't inferior at all. Right now, the battle between the two of them grew increasingly violent. Che Ho used the Dao of chaos to transform his attacks. Qin Yuanfeng used the 6 Daos to transform the world into chaos, transforming it into a space-time world. Such usage of Dao was simply terrifying to the extreme. When Jun Mengchen saw their battle, his divine sense seemed to want to infuse into it as well. He clenched his fists even tighter as the scenes of the battle unceasingly imprinted themselves into his mind. Spacetime, primal chaos, devour, Buddha, devil, these Tao techniques were all extremely powerful Taos. They combined various types of energy, and through the cultivation of the people of the world, they evolved into countless Tao techniques. There were some ultimate Taos that possessed boundless power, but what about their origins? How did the constellations in the 9 heavenly layers appear? Constellations contained the power of the Tao. And when God Kings fought, their bodies were like constellations. In that case, could the constellations in the boundless starry space be the traces left behind by cultivators over the countless years? What Tao was the highest level? Was this a true ultimate Tao art? As the saying goes, chaos gives birth to the myriad of Taos. The world was born from chaos, and the Tao of chaos could develop the myriad of Taos in the world. Clearly, it was an ultimate Tao. What about the world Tao he cultivated? Did the world represent the heaven and earth? Did the heaven and earth born from the primordial chaos represent this boundless world? Were they not part of the world? The Tao of the world was also the true ultimate Tao. Primal chaos could give birth to all Taos, so why couldn't the Tao of the world give birth to all Taos? Jun Mengchen seemed to have entered a wondrous state. It was like he was in an epiphany. His obsession was as intense as ever, giving him a huge motivation. The boundless starry space, the 9 heavenly layers, all the worlds were imprinted in his vision. What if his world Tao was compatible with the 9 heavenly layers? What did that mean? Did it mean that he could control the entire world with a single thought? Is this the transcendence that senior brother Qin mentioned before? In the past, his senior brother once said that cultivators were all comprehending the heavenly Taos. Through their comprehension, they would be able to control a trace of heavenly Tao energy and create their own Tao world. But in truth, the heavenly Tao they controlled could only control the area their energy could cover. For example, for the Tao of time, you could only control the flow of time in the area your Tao covered. This was similar to when the God King of the Western world used time reversal. The flow of time in that area was reversed, but the flow of time in the entire world remained the same. Hence, the Taos people in the world controlled were all minor heavenly Taos. If there was a day when one could truly control a major heavenly Tao, they would be able to control the Taos of the 9 heavenly layers. At that time, that would be a true transcendence. Although God Kings were heaven-defying, they still wouldn't be able to reach that step. At this moment, Jun Mengchen's mind spun unceasingly. Unknowingly, boundless astral light cascaded down on him. Even he himself didn't realize that the connection between him and the heaven vault grew closer and clearer. He could sense the details of the battle in the starry space. Those intense clashes were all imprinted in his vision. Maybe, this was also a manifestation of the world Tao. He watched the battle between Qin Yuanfeng and Che Ho. He seemed to have gained some insights and was about to sink into it. In addition, he could faintly sense that Qin Yuanfeng's cultivation base was extremely profound, and in truth, he wasn't far away from breaking through to the next level. Right now, Qin Yuanfeng should be able to attempt to break through to a deeper level of comprehension. However, what was that level exactly? What sort of power would it have? How strong would it be exactly? Even Jun Mengchen had no idea. After all, after the heavenly deity realm, there was no longer a clear division of cultivation realms. Everyone was known as deities, they controlled the heavenly Taos and were known as the deities of the heavenly deities. However, the disparity between the heavenly deities and heavenly deities was simply too great. The disparity between ordinary heavenly deities, peak stage heavenly deities like the sect leaders and palace lords of the various peak powers, as well as heavenly deities like the old sect leader of the Qianquan sect, and even heavenly deities like Qin Yuanfeng and Che Ho. The disparity between them was simply too great. There was no way to surmount it. Every time they improved, their cultivation base could be said to have grown deeper. But as to what level, it was impossible to say. For example, Qin Wentian. After many years of accumulation, his cultivation base was already so deep that he could fight against God King level characters. This meant that he had unknowingly already reached that level. Uncle Qin. Jun Mengchen called out. Naturally, he didn't use his mouth but his will. Qin Yuanfeng, who was in the midst of battle, seemed to have sensed his will. His eyes gleamed with sharpness as he inclined his head and glanced over. He could sense a mysterious energy. He could also tell who the owner of this voice was. It was none other than the brother of his son Qin Wentian, Jun Mengchen. Uncle Qin, the Six Paths force has already become complete in your hands. It's comparable to the complete Six Paths. However, I feel that it can still improve further and continue to evolve, transforming into a Six Daos world. Jun Mengchen's will rang out once more, causing Qin Yuanfeng's eyes to gleam with an incomparably resplendent light. The Six Paths force could continue to evolve, transforming into a Six Daos world. He cultivated for 2 lifetimes and spent many years in the divine mausoleum, comprehending the Tao of deities. He combined all his experiences and comprehensions, transforming them into the Six Paths force. He cultivated in the divine mausoleum for many years with no distractions in his heart. As the guardian of the divine mausoleum, he had to make a promise, but there were also restrictions. The master of the divine mausoleum, the moon god, also gave him some benefits. He combined 6 different types of powerful Daos into the Six Paths force, allowing him to unleash incomparably tyrannical might. During these years, he had been trying to figure out how to evolve the Six Paths. How should he proceed? He had no way to understand. Cultivation was like this. Sometimes, if you can't figure it out, you would never be able to take the next step. But sometimes, with a sudden epiphany, you might be able to instantly transform. Jun Mengchen's reminder seemed to have triggered something, causing Qin Yuanfeng's heart to pound violently. But at this moment, Che Ho was currently flying towards him. This time around, Che Ho seemed to have grown even stronger. He used the Tao of chaos to summon the energy of the heavens, manifesting a myriad of Daos in the world, wanting to annihilate all lives. This was an apocalyptic scene. World incinerating flames burned and Che Ho was immersed within. Ignite! He roared. The world incinerating flames from Che Ho fused into the countless divine weapons. For a period of time, the entire starry space turned golden, illuminated by the world incinerating flames. The golden divine flames could truly incinerate everything in the world. In addition to the power of the divine weapons, how strong would they be exactly? Six paths, Six Paths, Six Paths world. Qin Yuanfeng repeated this in his heart. In just a short instant, it was unknown how many times he repeated this. His eyes were so calm and his hands were incomparably steady. Even in such a terrifying situation, he was still as calm as ever. Kill! Che Ho waved his hand. A moment later, the golden divine flames erupted forth, illuminating the starry space. The countless divine weapons all shot towards Qin Yuanfeng. However, Qin Yuanfeng still stood there in a daze, as though he was about to be devoured by the golden divine flames. Yuanfeng. Luotian Qianxue, who was paying attention to the battle over there, froze. Her heart seemed to have stopped beating. Father. Qin Kursen's beautiful eyes stiffened as she stared over. The boundless destructive force was about to devour Qin Yuanfeng. Che Ho's lips finally curled up into a smile. His smile was still as cold as ever, like a machine. At this moment, Qin Yuanfeng acted. He punched out with his fist. The power of the Six Paths was like 6 azure dragons, rushing out in different directions, breaking through everything in the 6 directions. The 6 Paths continued to extend outwards, rushing out of the chaos divine weapons. After that, the power of the 6 Paths manifested and actually closed in from the outside. This entire space trembled violently as a miraculous transformation occurred, as though an unfathomable might was contained within. Break! At this moment, Qin Yuanfeng spoke. In the next instant, within the boundless chaos Tao, 6 different types of Tao might manifested. These 6 different types of Tao might seem to fuse into one, resonating with the great Tao, causing the heavens and earth to crumble. In this space, the true power of the 6 paths appeared, destroying everything as it gushed towards Che Ho. How can this be? Che Ho's eyes turned cold when he saw the attacks of the chaos Tao being broken apart. He transformed into a beam of divine weapon light and wanted to rush out. But at the next moment, his expression changed. This place seemed to have transformed into a world of the 6 paths. No matter how he tried, he couldn't exit. Refine. A cold voice rang out as the power of the 6 paths erupted forth. Che Ho's body trembled violently. After that, countless faces actually appeared on his body, they were like countless souls. Chapter 2028. The World of the 6 Taos. Below, everyone stared at the battlefield in the air as their hearts pounded violently. Qin Yuanfeng seemed to have broken through. After reaching the heavenly deity realm, breaking through wasn't as simple as breaking through in the past. But in truth, every breakthrough was a transformation of one's comprehension of the heavenly Taos. The strength of this transformation was definitely much harder compared to breaking through to the heavenly deity realm. At this moment, the 6 azure dragons transformed into a world of the 6 Taos. The power of the 6 Taos was like the power of the 6 great heavenly Taos. This world of the 6 Taos buried Che Ho. In the past, Qin Yuanfeng had already fused the 6 Taos together. But now, it was more complete, becoming a perfect entity. In the world of the 6 Taos, countless souls flew out from Che Ho's body. These souls were all struggling frenziedly. After that, they either entered samsara, were devoured, or were destroyed by the dimension. In any case, all of them were destroyed by the 6 Taos. Are these the experts of the Che clan? There are too many of them, they are endless. It seems like the entire Che clan is filled with countless lives. The demon sovereign of the demon god mountain stared at the sky. There were too many souls, the world of the 6 Taos was like hell. All of these souls were actually born from Che Ho's body. Right now, Che Ho seemed to be in extreme pain. He was struggling frenziedly but the energy in his body kept on weakening. As his soul continued to vanish, his Tao was stripped away bit by bit. After that, his divine weapons, divine formations, divine flames, all of them left his body. Gradually, Che Ho no longer resembled a human. He was like a piece of primordial chaos, he had no corporeal body. A golden chaotic light flashed. As Che Ho roared, the terrifying light was so blinding that it was hard for people to open their eyes. A beam of intense light flashed. In the next instant, the primordial chaos vanished. A human figure appeared there. This figure still had the appearance of Che Ho but he was now extremely weak. His aura fluctuated as he stared at everything before him. All of a sudden, he laughed, his laughter filled with mockery. He was the true Che Ho. The original Che Ho, the clan leader of the Che clan. He was no longer the Che Ho who seized the fortune of heaven and earth. Did I still fail in the end? I fused with the fortune of heaven and earth, gathering the strength of the Che clan. But in the end, the Che clan was destroyed and I died here as well. Che Ho seemed to be mumbling to himself. His body gradually turned illusory as he disintegrated bit by bit. Finally, he completely vanished from the 6 Taos world. The powerful humanoid divine weapon, Che Ho, was defeated in the battlefield of God Kings in the Heaven Vault and died. The 6 Taos world vanished. Qin Yuanfeng's gaze turned downwards, piercing through the boundless starry space, directly landing on Jun Mengchen. At this moment, Jun Mengchen's eyes were closed, as though he was still in a miraculous state. Qin Yuanfeng understood that Jun Mengchen was in a state of enlightenment. Before this, he already knew that this junior apprentice brother of his was extraordinary. Now, it seems like Jun Mengchen had comprehended something. This awakening should allow Jun Mengchen to become even stronger. In addition, Jun Mengchen used his own insights to remind him, allowing him to undergo a transformation and kill Che Ho. Otherwise, if the battle continued, no one would be able to do anything to the other. Naturally, although Jun Mengchen played a part in his breakthrough, it wasn't entirely because of him. At his current level, there was no one who could truly cause him to undergo a transformation with just a single sentence. In truth, it was because his own cultivation base was about to reach the same level, he was only a step away. This was especially so after the battle against Che Ho, he directly faced the Tao of Chaos. That was also of some help to his cultivation. At the end, it was only because of a single sentence from Jun Mengchen that he managed to break through and become even stronger. Inclining his head, Qin Yuanfeng's silhouette flashed, moving like a meteor as he flew towards the battlefield in the starry space. His battle here has ended. However, there were still 3 more battles in the boundless starry space. Only by winning all of them would this ultimate battle of the supreme ancient immortal realms be considered a true victory. Right now, it was still too early. When the people below saw Qin Yuanfeng flying towards Qin Wentian's battlefield, they couldn't help but to sweat in their hearts. Qin Wentian was still inside the evil head, they could only hope that he was fine. Very swiftly, Qin Yuanfeng also arrived above the 9 heavenly layers. He stood in front of the evil head and felt extremely tiny. It was like he was facing an evil constellation. This evil constellation contained an evil Tao art. Qin Yuanfeng's body instantly grew larger and larger, transforming into a towering battle god that was comparable to a constellation. He lifted his arm as the might of the 6 paths gushed forth. Just when he was about to attack, the demonic eyes on the evil head flashed with a red light, containing a Tao art that resembled the Tao of the moon god. In the next instant, Qin Yuanfeng fell into a great illusionscape. In this world that was as dark as blood, countless divine weapons and evil devils rushed towards him, wanting to trap him within. Kill! The might of the 6 paths gushed forth, shattering the evil devils. And as for Qin Wentian who was inside the evil head, he was also facing a similar situation. In fact, it was even more terrifying. Qin Wentian was trapped within the evil head formed by Yu Changkong. In the world of the evil head, the world itself contained an evil Tao art. If ordinary heavenly deities were to be trapped here, their bodies would be corroded bit by bit and devoured by the evil devils. However, Qin Wentian transformed into a devil sovereign, killing all evil in the world, destroying everything. However, there seemed to be no end to the evil devils here. The corrosive power of the Tao seemed to be everywhere, wanting to exhaust him to death here. Qin Wentian's gaze was terrifying. He knew that he was trapped in the center of Yu Changkong's world of Tao arts. In here, he couldn't sense the constellations in the sky and had no way to borrow the power of the Taos of the heavens. In here, he also knew that he might be trapped in some sort of illusory world or heart devil. These evil devils he killed might not even exist, hence, he couldn't kill them all. However, he had no way to differentiate reality from illusion. In fact, one could say that there was no difference between reality and illusion in Yu Changkong's world of Tao arts. In such a battle, there seemed to be no chance of victory. The devil-formed Qin Wentian transformed into grew larger and larger, unceasingly slaughtering the evil devils. The Tao energy that could dominate everything was unleashed unceasingly, causing the sky to turn dark. But even after a long time, he still hadn't finished killing. He couldn't kill them all, he couldn't slay them all. Finally, the devil's energy seemed to be depleted and he gradually felt fatigued. He was struck by the attacks of the evil devils and the injuries on his gigantic body grew more and more numerous. Gradually, he found it hard to endure any longer. However, Yu Changkong's true body still didn't appear. He wanted to slowly exhaust Qin Wentian to death. After a long time, the devil's arm was severed. Qin Wentian howled in rage, becoming more and more violent. His severed arm showed signs of regrowing, but before it could completely regrow, the other arm was severed as well. He let out howls of agony, appearing extremely miserable. His body was being destroyed unceasingly, being devoured, vanishing bit by bit. At this moment, an unparalleled ray of light shone in the darkness, striking down from the demon's head. At this moment, the darkness seemed to have quietened down. The gigantic devil body was split apart as a soul howl rang out. It seemed to be Qin Wentian's soul. Finally, has it ended? At this moment, an extremely evil voice rang out. From the darkness, a head flew over. This was none other than Yu Chankong's head. He was so evil, staring at Qin Wentian's soul. Qin Wentian, everything you have, I will inherit for you. Yu Chankong laughed evilly. His head moved towards Qin Wentian's soul. Qin Wentian's soul struggled, but a terrifying Tao energy was unleashed, able to directly extract everything from his soul. He had no way to escape. Many comprehensions flowed into Yu Chankong's mind. How comfortable. All of your comprehensions and memories will belong to me. As long as you die, I won't even kill your woman and will help you take care of her. Yu Chankong cackled sinisterly. He was enjoying this more and more, and there was even a look of intoxication on his face. Qin Wentian's soul was howling, struggling in pain. The more this was so, the more intoxicated Yu Chankong felt. He closed his eyes as a beautiful and intoxicated voice rang out. At this moment, a light sound rang out from the destroyed devil body. In the next instant, a supreme light flashed in the darkness, piercing through the darkness. The golden Buddha light and the dazzling light fused together as a figure descended from the void. That figure was so dazzling, incomparably divine. He wielded a pure and holy Buddha sword in his hand, transcending time and space as he slashed out with his sword. This sword strike was too fast, so fast that it surpassed time. Yu Chankong, who was intoxicated, suddenly opened his eyes. After that, when he saw that holy and dazzling figure, only a single thought appeared in his mind. This is impossible. That holy and dazzling figure was actually Qin Wentian's figure. In that case, who did he kill earlier? Who was the person he devoured? This definitely wasn't a fake illusion. He truly devoured the Tao, devoured the comprehensions, devoured the memories. That was the true soul of Qin Wentian. Only then would he be intoxicated and enjoy it so much. He tossed aside everything and didn't have any wariness at all. Since he had already won, why would he still be wary? That was the moment when he was the most relaxed. But at this moment, a sword like this appeared, descending from the heavens. Chapter 2029. Intense terror appeared on Yu Chankong's evil face. The sword light flashed as the evil face trembled and crumbled apart. All of the evil devils were destroyed, as if they had vanished into nothingness and no longer existed. At the same time, outside, the gigantic evil head that resembled a constellation was trembling madly. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out as the constellation exploded and collapsed. Boundless black fog enveloped the starry space before gradually dissipating. The evil eyes of the evil head had an expression of extreme agony on its face. Qin Yuanfeng's figure appeared in that space, but when he saw the scene before him, he was stunned. Earlier, he was trapped by the illusions, and just when he was preparing to break free, the heavenly Tao of illusions suddenly crumbled. After that, he saw the scene before him. A beam of sword light pierced through the darkness, shooting into the starry space. That sword light was too resplendent, holy and holy, it was definitely not an evil sword art. Clearly, this was Qin Wentian's sword. Wentian! Qin Yuanfeng called out. Within the black fog, a resplendent light flashed, resembling a golden Buddha body that wielded a sword of light. This was none other than Qin Wentian. He slashed through the darkness and appeared before Qin Wentian. Before this, if it wasn't for Little Yi, he wouldn't have been restricted by Yu Changkong when he rushed into the black fog and entered Yu Changkong's stomach. In there, he had no way to connect to the constellations in the sky and was in an extremely passive state. He could only use extreme methods. Beside Qin Wentian's golden body, an illusory figure gradually manifested. This illusory figure was also Qin Wentian, but earlier, this was a devil body. It wasn't an illusion to deceive Yu Changkong, it was real. If it wasn't real, Yu Changkong might have seen through it. Father. Qin Wentian's silhouette flashed as the two of them appeared beside Qin Yuanfeng. That black fog was still trembling, some of it gradually dissipated. However, there was still another black fog that actually condensed into Yu Changkong's face. He stared at Qin Wentian as his expression contorted. He coldly spoke, "You cheated. Didn't you use Little Yi to trick me into your stomach?" Qin Wentian responded indifferently. Any method was a kind of strength. How could I have overlooked your external incarnation? You actually have two bodies, one Buddha and one demon. Yu Changkong was filled with hatred. His carelessness this time would cause him to be consigned to eternal damnation. What about his ambitions? After so many years, he reincarnated and came back because he wanted to dominate the supreme ancient immortal realms and ascend to the peak of the heavenly Tao. If all of his hopes were to vanish because of this, how could he be willing? I didn't expect that a single attack like this wouldn't kill you. Qin Wentian coldly spoke. He turned his gaze towards the constellation in the sky. Behind him, a gigantic shadow appeared. This shadow had a pair of terrifying eyes that stared at the black fog. Above the constellation, a beam of light cascaded down, enveloping the entire starry space. At this instant, the entire space seemed to be frozen. A terrifying spatial energy tore apart the black fog, wanting to completely kill Yu Changkong, pulling up the weeds at the roots. If Yu Changkong didn't die, he wouldn't be able to rest in peace. He also wouldn't be willing to accept this. He has yet to avenge Little Yi. A debt of blood must be paid in blood. The formless black fog was torn apart. Yu Changkong's face appeared in different locations in the starry space, staring at Qin Wentian. Which body is your true body exactly? Both are my true bodies. I've long fused with my avatar. Qin Wentian calmly replied. After his true body fused with Di Tian's body, there was no such thing as a true body or an avatar. He could still split into two, but both of them would be his true body. Naturally, if he wanted to take away half of his soul, his strength would also be weakened. He wouldn't be able to fully possess the strength of his true body. In that case, wouldn't it be equivalent to having two bodies? In the starry space, the black fog unceasingly exploded. However, there were still countless strands of black fog fleeing in different directions. Some of the black fog transformed into terrifying spears or halberds of darkness, wanting to break free from Qin Wentian's control. Your life is truly tough. Qin Wentian's voice was cold. A sealing astral soul appeared behind him. In an instant, he activated the sealing astral energy from the constellations in the sky. With a single glance, boundless sealing light cascaded down, enveloping this boundlessly vast world. The escaping black fog was unceasingly sealed. Even if it had the power to break the Tao, it was still hard for it to break free from this Tao. Yu Changkong's life was truly tough enough. If it was any other heavenly deity, that attack earlier would have long dissipated their souls. However, Yu Changkong didn't die. In truth, back then when he devoured a heavenly deity from the Ziwei divine court, he had already lost his sense of self when he became a heavenly deity. He no longer had his original body and could only live as a parasite within the black fog. This black fog was an evil energy that was born from the lives of countless living beings. It existed everywhere and was boundless. He, Yu Changkong, was an undying existence. But even so, his carelessness earlier still caused him to suffer heavy injuries. He used the vast majority of his energy to devour Qin Wentian. At that time, he was filled with excitement and fanaticism. But now, he suffered a destructive attack. From this, one could imagine how terrifying the damage was. His injuries would only be worse compared to Qin Wentian. At this moment, Qin Wentian's soul was almost devoured, but he still had another body. In addition, he had the undying scripture. The heaven-defying aspect of the undying scripture was that it was undying and indestructible. It had heaven-defying recovery abilities. At his current cultivation realm, his recovery abilities were even more terrifying. Hence, while he was fighting, he was constantly recovering. At this moment, Qin Yuanfeng also took a step forward and punched out. The force of the six paths was like a raging dragon emerging from the sea, sweeping through the starry space and directly devouring the black fog. Both father and son attacked at the same time, wanting to completely kill Yu Changkong. This man was too evil and too dangerous. If they could kill him, they definitely couldn't show any carelessness or mercy. When Mo Qingcheng and the others saw the battle in the air, smiles could be seen in their eyes. Qin Wentian was fine now. He killed his way out and was working together with Qin Yuanfeng to kill Yu Changkong. They wanted to wipe out everything about Yu Changkong. Qin Yuanfeng was victorious. Right now, Qin Wentian's battle was also won. This caused them to see hope. Out of the 4 God King level battles, 2 of them had already won. In addition, Qin Yuanfeng was even stronger than before. Jun Mengchen also seemed to be in the midst of comprehension. If this continued, they would have an extremely high chance of winning this final battle. Only the Grim Reaper and the heaven-devouring God King, as well as Princess Kitamura and the Grand Devil Lord's battles were left. Even if they couldn't win, it would be sufficient as long as they continued to drag the battle. After Qin Wentian and Qin Yuanfeng killed Yu Changkong, they would rush over to these 2 battlefields and kill the remaining 2 God Kings together. Trash. At this moment, the Grand Devil Lord who was fighting against Princess Kitamura coldly spoke. Black lotuses enveloped the entire space, wanting to envelop the space where Princess Kitamura was at. At the same time, more black lotuses grew out from Princess Kitamura's body. The battle between the 2 of them had always been a battle of souls. But even so, the Grand Devil Lord was actually still paying attention to the other battlefields. The word trash was clearly referring to Yu Changkong and Che Ho. Back then when Yu Changkong came to the Western world and wanted to form an alliance to attack the Heaven Vault, the Grand Devil Lord agreed. But when they truly attacked the Heaven Vault, Yu Changkong and Che Ho had been watching from the sidelines and only acted after that. However, the Grand Devil Lord didn't mind. How could he not understand Yu Changkong's intentions? But he didn't care. He believed that Yu Changkong and Che Ho would still be useful to him. In this battle, they have already displayed their value. But now, both sides were actually defeated so quickly. This made him very unhappy. You better worry about yourself. The imperishable Heaven Lord's shadow coldly spoke. Worry about myself? The Grand Devil Lord opened his eyes. His gigantic body radiated an incomparable might, unexcelled in the world. He stared at the imperishable Heaven Lord and spoke, "Do you really think that you still have the strength to contend against me now? Do you think that I won't be able to kill you just because the Western world's army was annihilated? What a joke. The reason why I'm fighting against you is because..." The Grand Devil Lord coldly spoke. After that, the Black Lotus in Princess Kitamura's body suddenly erupted forth with a soul-lacerating might. In an instant, countless Black Lotuses manifested, appearing in Princess Kitamura's soul, like they were planted. Behind Princess Kitamura, the wills of the imperishable Heaven Lord and the other heavenly deities frenziedly surged in, transmitting their energy to Princess Kitamura, resisting the corrosion of the Black Lotus. A wave of all-annihilation energy bore down on the Black Lotuses. But at this moment, the black lotuses transformed into humanoid forms. All of them actually transformed into figures of Qin Wentian. These figures seem to have been planted into Princess Kitamura's Tao heart. Princess Kitamura's soul trembled violently, she couldn't bear to act. This is a heart devil. He is the God King of the Western Paradise, his Buddhist arts are extremely powerful. Now that he has transformed into a devil, his ability to bewitch the hearts of others is extremely strong. Don't be bewitched by him. The imperishable Heaven Lord reminded. Princess Kitamura roared loudly. Her long hair fluttered in the wind as she slaughtered the figures of Qin Wentian. Blood flowed from Qin Wentian's body. Qin Wentian stared fixedly at her as he roared, "You Huang, you want to kill me?" Boundless voices rang out unceasingly in Princess Kitamura's soul, causing Princess Kitamura's Tao heart to go out of control. How could she kill Qin Wentian? How could this be? Fake. Everything was an illusion. She mustn't fall for it. Kill. Princess Kitamura's eyes suddenly turned extremely resolute. Her will was incomparably resolute, wanting to kill everything. Qin Wentian's figure seemed to flicker unceasingly. At this moment, a golden light radiated as the figures transformed into golden Buddhas, resembling undying Buddhas. Is this the true you? The God King of the Western Paradise? Princess Kitamura's heart turned cold. From the start of the battle, the God King of the Western Paradise had never truly appeared. Right now, the figure that appeared in her soul, was it his true body? It's me. That figure admitted. I've always been here, I'm everywhere. It's just that you guys can't discover me. The reason why I kept fighting with you isn't because I truly can't kill you. It's because I want to obtain your soul Tao art. Right now in this world, there's no one who can stop me. Let alone you, even if the imperishable Heaven Lord revives, she wouldn't be able to do so. Chapter 2030. He had always been there, he was everywhere. The God King of the Western Paradise was the most terrifying. Princess Kitamura's heart turned cold. She stared at the God King of the Western Paradise growing in her body. More and more of him appeared in her mind and soul. Buddha and devil voices rang out at the same time. Princess Kitamura's body trembled violently. The golden lotus and the black lotus seemed to have fused together, growing from her body, wanting to seize everything from her. Her beautiful face was also contorting, it was like she was about to transform into a female Buddha. No! Princess Kitamura howled. She felt that she was about to be controlled. Her control over her body was being seized. She might as well die. Her long hair fluttered in the wind. At this moment, Princess Kitamura was in extreme pain. The Grim Reaper howled and rushed towards her. However, the attacks of the heaven-devouring God King grew even more violent, not allowing him to leave the battlefield. Qin Wentian, who was currently fighting against Yu Changkong, noticed the battle over there. His heart trembled as he called out, "Yu Huang." As the sound of his voice faded, his eyes stared at the boundless starry space. In an instant, the light from many ceiling constellations shot down at the same time, cascading down on Princess Kitamura's body. An extremely tyrannical sealing Tao rushed into Princess Kitamura's body. Qin Wentian had experienced this before. Once, the reincarnation Buddha had done this to him. He wanted to help Yu Huang break free from the reincarnation Buddha. The powerful Tao energy rushed into Princess Kitamura's soul. Qin Wentian also saw the figure of the Taoist monk. The two types of energy frenziedly ravaged Princess Kitamura's body, causing Princess Kitamura to be in extreme pain. Her will was on the verge of collapse, she had no way to persist. Her countenance paled as her body trembled. Her long hair fluttered wildly, causing the hearts of everyone who saw this scene to tremble. Yu Huang. Qin Wentian saw the pain Yu Huang was in. He gave up on killing Yu Changkong and traversed through space, appearing beside Princess Kitamura. His eyes directly landed on Princess Kitamura's body as terrifying Tao arts gushed in. At the same time, his soul energy also frenziedly gushed in. His palm imprinted on Princess Kitamura's body as all sorts of Tao arts invaded, destroying the Buddha image in Princess Kitamura's body. That Buddha image crumbled bit by bit, but it still had a smile on its face before vanishing. Pooh! Princess Kitamura coughed out a mouthful of blood. Her countenance was pale like paper. Numerous figures flew over. Qin Yuanfeng had also arrived, staring at the Devil Lord. A wave of black fog gushed over and appeared beside the Grand Devil Lord, transforming into a gigantic face. This was none other than Yu Changkong. However, the Yu Changkong now no longer posed too much of a threat. The only truly powerful one was the God King of the Western Paradise. He was simply too powerful. Before this, he was actually concealing his strength. How is it? Qin Wentian supported Princess Kitamura's body. Princess Kitamura shook her head lightly, but her countenance was completely pale. The imperishable Heaven Lord behind her also turned somewhat illusory. She stared at the Grand Devil Lord and coldly spoke, "You are the God King of the Western Paradise. Buddha and Devil, you are the same person." The Grand Devil Lord had a cold smile on his face. He stared at the experts before him and spoke, "Back then, you once injured me. Could it be that you still don't understand the Tao I cultivate? I've already said it before, I'm everywhere. In order to seek transcendence, what I cultivate is the Tao of anatta. In this world, I don't exist but I'm everywhere. The Buddhas of the Western Paradise don't know who I am, but in truth, I've always been in the cycle of reincarnation, experiencing life after life. Any Buddha in the Western Paradise might be a part of my reincarnation cycle. I control the Buddhist Taos of the heavens, I'm omnipotent. However, I still have no way to transcend the 9 heavens. There are 9 astral rivers in the sky, enveloping all lives. I'm unwilling to accept this, I have to surpass them. Just cultivating the Buddhist Tao isn't enough, I need to cultivate the Taos of the heavens. God King Desolate can devour the energy of the constellations in the sky and comprehend the Taos of the heavens. Hence, his fate has already been determined. But in the battle in the past, I was actually injured by you. Your Tao also contains the true intent of the Taos of the heavens. That sort of soul Tao is extremely useful to me and I want to control it. Hence, there was a battle today. If not, do you really think that a little lass like her can fight against me until now? Even if you returned at your peak and brought the deities of Azure Mystic with you, you still wouldn't be able to injure me like you did back then. The Grand Devil Lord arrogantly spoke. At this moment, he seemed to have changed, becoming unexcelled in the world. Qin Wentian, Qin Yuanfeng and the others all had heavy expressions on their faces. The God King of the Western Paradise was much stronger than they had imagined. He cultivated the Tao of anatta. He didn't exist in the world but he was everywhere. Right now, the Grand Devil Lord was none other than his incarnation. Gu, do you really think I don't know what you are thinking? But I don't care. I came to the Heaven Vault not only for the sake of conquering it. My true purpose is to make use of this ultimate battle at the peak of the supreme ancient immortal realms to transcend. If I don't succeed this time around, I'm afraid I would have to wait for another time. I've been waiting for this day for far too long. If it wasn't for this, I would have long since entered the world. I know the past and the future, I can foresee the fates of all lives. I can already see that the time for me to transcend has arrived. Hence, I came here. He continued speaking. Every word he spoke caused the bodies of everyone to tremble. He knew the fates of all lives in the past and the future. He came to the Heaven Vault not because he wanted to conquer it but because the time for him to transcend had arrived. He wanted to make use of this ultimate battle to transcend. If not, he would have long since entered the world. Gu, your fate has already been decided. Hand everything of yours to me and lend me a helping hand. Before this, I've already obtained the undying Tao. If I fuse the Tao of you and the moon god into it, I might truly be able to see the scenery of that step. Yu Chankong's eyes flashed with coldness. He turned his head and stared at the Grand Devil Lord. He had devoured countless people as nourishment. Now, there was actually someone who wanted to treat him like this. A terrifying energy enveloped this starry space. The Grand Devil Lord naturally wouldn't be so polite to him. He knew that he had no choice but to agree even if he didn't want to. No matter who won this battle, the Grand Devil Lord wouldn't spare him. Right. Yu Changkong nodded. After that, he flew towards the Grand Devil Lord. Beams of devil light radiated from the Grand Devil Lord, gushing into Yu Changkong's body. But at this moment, Yu Changkong suddenly rushed towards the Grand Devil Lord's body, directly merging into it. A terrifying evil head appeared, enveloping the Grand Devil Lord. Even now, the Grand Devil Lord still wanted to resist, wanting to devour the Grand Devil Lord. An ant trying to shake a tree. The Grand Devil Lord coldly spoke. Yu Changkong's evil head continued to merge into the Grand Devil Lord's head. The two faces changed unceasingly, sometimes it was Yu Changkong's face, sometimes it was the Grand Devil Lord's face. Merge into my body, and after you attain your Tao and transcend, you will also be able to see that unknown scenery. Why not? The Grand Devil Lord spoke in a light voice. He stretched out his hand again as a palm of darkness enveloped the sky, enveloping the body of the heaven-devouring God King who was fighting against the Grim Reaper. The heaven-devouring God King directly gave up on fighting and rushed into the Grand Devil Lord's palm, gradually merging into it and vanishing from sight. No. Little Rascal felt incomparable pain in his heart when he saw this scene. Although he knew that his father was already being controlled, when he saw that body, he still felt a trace of pain in his heart. But now, his father has completely vanished, devoured by that true devil. The Grim Reaper's expression was gloomy. He came to the side of Qin Wentian and the others. The four of them stood together. Qin Wentian, Qin Yuanfeng, Princess Kitamura and the Grim Reaper. But right now, all of their expressions were heavy. So it turned out that many things before were intentionally revealed by him. Most probably, his injuries have long recovered. The Buddhist sect had the art of fate and could faintly pry into heavenly secrets and fate. This God King of the Western Paradise said that the time for him to transcend has arrived. Did he really pry into heaven's will and foresee the future? The four of them stood together, but their expressions were unprecedentedly heavy. Right now, this supreme devil before their eyes, how many experts was he the fusion of? He was originally a God King of the Western Heaven Universe region. His body was that of the Grand Devil Lord, and he even devoured God King Desolate's energy. Earlier, he also obtained Yu Changkong's energy. Yu Changkong himself already had the power of God King Gu and the Moon God. This meant that right now, their opponent was a combination of 5 God Kings. Also, earlier, he even said that he obtained the imperishable Heaven Lord's soul energy. The current him, if he erupted with his true strength, how strong would he be? The Grand Devil Lord drew in a deep breath. His devil eyes landed on Qin Wentian. In the heavenly Tao I saw, you are also someone chosen by fate. I have always been waiting for you to grow. If I can capture you, I wouldn't be far from true transcendence. Now, the time is finally ripe. Chapter 2031. The God King of the Universe region had cultivated for many lifetimes in the cycle of reincarnation and comprehended the Taos of the Buddhist path. He cultivated the Tao of Anatta, seeking to be free and unrestrained. He was omnipresent in this world. What level was this? Transcending everything, the Lord of heaven and earth. He knew very well that at this level, wanting to advance a single step was as difficult as ascending the heavens. The Tao of God Kings was to be able to condense even more constellations and comprehend different Taos. At the end, they would be able to comprehend them and open up an unprecedented path. 9 astral souls, 9 attributes, comprehending the Tao, that was the Tao of heavenly deities. If one followed this path, they would be able to cultivate to the heavenly deity realm and even get close to the God-King realm. However, there was still an innate difference between heavenly deities and God-Kings. For God-Kings, which of them didn't rely on heaven-defying insights or good fortune to break free from the restraints of the 9 astral souls? The Grand Devil Lord controlled the Devil Tao. God-King Desolate could devour the sun, moon and constellations, devouring the energy of the 9 heavenly layers. The imperishable Heaven Lord could create an astral river. As for Qin Wentian, he was even more terrifying. He had obtained the inheritance left behind by God-King Shi and was able to condense astral energy from the constellations. He understood that this was the direction of the ultimate great Tao. If one wanted to transcend the 9 heavenly layers, they first had to be able to control the power of the constellations. If not, if they couldn't even control the constellations, how could they even talk about transcending? He could already sense that the time for him to transcend was about to arrive. In addition, his insights were also close to transforming. He was very close to that step. This battle would be the ultimate battle of the supreme ancient immortal realms, his transcendence battle. If he missed this opportunity, it was unknown how many years he would have to wait for another chance. Boom! The Grand Devil Lord clenched his fists as a fearsome might gushed forth from him. His eyes seemed to contain the constellations in the sky, and when his gaze landed on everyone, the souls of Qin Wentian and the others trembled. If you guys are willing to submit and become a part of me, I can preserve a wisp of your will and allow you to witness the scenery of the future. The Grand Devil Lord spoke. It was like he didn't have the 4 experts before him in his eyes at all. The heavenly Tao is never eternal and unchanging. Before transcending, no one can see everything in the future. You are unable to do so. If not, you wouldn't have been so heavily injured back then. The imperishable Heaven Lord spoke. The Grand Devil Lord coldly laughed, as expected of the imperishable Heaven Lord. Just like what you said, it's true that no one can foresee everything in the future. Even with my current cultivation realm, it's impossible for me to see everything. However, I cultivate the Tao of fate and can still pry into some heavenly secrets. Then do you see our fate? Qin Yuanfeng calmly spoke. The Grand Devil Lord stared at Qin Yuanfeng as a cold smile appeared on his face. However, he didn't say anything. In the air above, countless beams of astral light suddenly shot down, landing on the Grand Devil Lord. Imperishable, my Tao is only a step away. Now that I've grasped your and Yuchankong's Taos, I've perfected them. Many thanks to the 2 of you. The Grand Devil Lord calmly spoke. He had just devoured Yuchankong, but he actually said that he had grasped Yuchankong's Tao. If this was said to others, it would simply be unbelievable. But for him, there was such a possibility. He has already reached an unfathomable level, it was impossible to predict how strong he was now. He has reincarnated many times and has grasped the Buddhist Taos of the heavens. The Buddhist Taos were originally extremely mysterious and incomparably powerful. There was karma, reincarnation, and even the past and the future. Because, it wasn't strange at all. His eyes stared at the boundless starry space only to see countless illusory silhouettes appearing at this moment. Each constellation had many illusory silhouettes. Their cultivation bases were of varying levels, old and young. They were like an endless number of living beings. Is this fate or karma? The Grim Reaper's eyes abruptly turned cold. There were countless constellations in the 9 heavenly layers, and each one of them was connected to a cultivator. There was a possibility that karma was born. Cultivators must have formed a connection with the constellations they were connected to. At this moment, countless constellations radiated their astral light downwards. These beams of astral light cascaded down towards the supreme ancient immortal realms. In the supreme ancient immortal realms, countless people inclined their heads. On the streets, an Immortal Foundation cultivator had a strange look on his face as he asked, "What's going on?" "I'm not cultivating, why are the constellations radiating astral light?" "What's going on?" someone at the side asked in shock. They glanced at the surroundings and to their shock, they discovered that many people encountered the same scene. They inclined their heads and stared at the 9 heavenly layers as their hearts pounded violently. "Is the heavens going to change?" someone mumbled. It was rumored that in the heaven region, an ultimate battle was about to erupt. This battle might decide the future situation of the supreme ancient immortal realms. However, this was something only those experts with high cultivation bases and major powers would consider. It was still very far away from the masses. Even heavenly deities were too far away from them. But at this moment, was this phenomenon happening because of that ultimate battle? In the sky, boundless astral light cascaded down. It was like the 9 heavenly layers were collapsing. The astral light from the astral rivers flowed downwards, illuminating the entire world. But at this moment, the hearts of some people pounded violently. After that, their souls seemed to have left their bodies. Their consciousnesses flew up into the starry space, unceasingly flying upwards. They saw the majestic 9 heavenly layers, the supreme figure standing in the air, an incomparably divine Buddha currently fighting against the 4 great evil devils. These 4 great evil devils wanted to destroy the heavens while this divine Buddha was actually trying to save the people of the world. They needed to fight side by side with this Buddha, only then would they be able to redeem everything. Such thoughts were directly planted in their minds, deeply rooted in their minds. They started to offer their strength, their faith, and even their own fates. Hence, in the sky above, on the battlefield in the starry space, boundless astral light was reflected back, unceasingly landing on the gigantic body of the Grand Devil Lord. The lives of the people of the world were connected, their fates were one. At this moment, what the Grand Devil Lord was doing wasn't merely the Western world's army, he was the true lives of the people of the world. Do you all think that you can resist? The Grand Devil Lord stared at Qin Wentian and the others as he spoke. Qin Wentian and the others all unleashed their auras to the extreme. Their countenances were unprecedentedly heavy. This battle would be the final one, and it would also be unprecedentedly dangerous because their opponent was truly close to transcending. Such a Tao was directly connected to the fates of the people of the world. It was simply too terrifying. Who else in this world would be able to stop him? Right now, to Qin Wentian and the others, this battle no longer concerned their life and death. For the sake of saving the lives of the people of the Western world, Hua Taishu sacrificed himself for his Tao. But who would have thought that his opponent would become even stronger? It's time to unify the supreme ancient immortal realms. The Grand Devil Lord calmly spoke. His body and face were changing. Sometimes, his devil intent towered up into the sky, and sometimes, his golden body shone with Buddhic light. Buddha and devil were one. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wentian and the others all felt an extremely powerful force directly boring into their souls. In the next instant, the fates of their souls seemed to be controlled by the Grand Devil Lord, extracted from their bodies. That power was too tyrannical. Qin Wentian's 2 bodies fused back into one, but he still felt a supreme power acting on his soul. Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes stared fixedly at the Grand Devil Lord. She felt some regret. It was her battle with the Grand Devil Lord that allowed him to steal her power, becoming even more terrifying. She gathered the wills of the experts of ancient Azure Mystic as well as the remnant soul energy and launched an attack at the Grand Devil Lord. 2 shadows appeared in the sky. One of them was Princess Kitamura, and the other was a blurry figure of a Buddha and devil. Boom! A deafening sound rang out. Princess Kitamura coughed out fresh blood. She who was already injured was heavily injured once more. The soul energy of the blurry figure transformed into a huge devouring mouth, wanting to devour Princess Kitamura's soul. At this moment, Qin Wentian's soul energy descended, transforming into a gigantic Buddha law body. After that, it transformed into a Tao attack. Boundless Buddhic spacetime swords slashed out, forcing the soul energy of the Grand Devil Lord to retreat. Only then did Princess Kitamura retreat. However, her originally pale countenance grew even more unsightly to behold as her aura grew weaker. You want to protect her? Who can you protect? The Buddha Devil God King of the Western Paradise coldly spoke. His eyes turned towards the direction where Mo Qingqing and the others were at. In an instant, boundless astral light cascaded down, resembling the light of fate. Mo Qingqing and the others all felt an irresistible might boring down on them. Qin Wentian's expression turned extremely unsightly to behold. He spoke, "Let's leave." As the sound of his voice faded, a terrifying spacetime force enveloped the people around him. Time and space warped as they directly appeared at the location where Mo Qingqing and the others were. Qin Wentian inclined his head and stared at the sky. His gaze was cold to the extreme. From the sky, constellations shot out beams of light that enveloped this space, obstructing the Tao attacks of the Grand Devil Lord. What should we do? Qin Wentian felt extremely anxious in his heart. The God King of the Western Paradise was simply too powerful. With a single thought, he could attack any location in the starry space. To the God King of the Western Paradise, there was no longer any distance between them. He borrowed the power of the countless constellations in the 9 heavenly layers, and his attacks could envelop the boundless world. In fact, he could even reach the surface of the supreme ancient immortal realms. How heaven-defying was this? If his attacks could envelop the entire supreme ancient immortal realms, this meant that he had truly transcended. This was also what God King Shi had always been pursuing. He wanted to transcend the 9 heavenly layers. Chapter 2032. Boom! The sky trembled as the starry space trembled. The boundless starlight from the 9 heavenly layers cascaded onto the body of the God King of the Western Paradise. His body was half Buddha and half devil. Buddha and devil alternated, his body continued to grow larger and larger, becoming even larger than constellations. He wanted to transform into a true giant, transcending all existences. The fates of the masses were all controlled by him. As his body continued to expand, his fingers grew to the size of a constellation. His eyes were like 2 resplendent constellations, and his legs were like the constellations in the 9 heavenly layers. The countless constellations in the 9 heavenly layers surrounded him. Such a scene was simply too shocking to the hearts of others. In this constellation, not only was his gigantic body present, there was also the shadow of all lives. It was like the fate of everyone. At this moment, the scene in the 9 heavenly layers was projected down, appearing before the eyes of everyone in the supreme ancient immortal realms. The sun vanished, the world transformed into a world of starry space. In the boundless starry space, there was a figure that was like a king of the supreme ancient immortal realms, about to ascend to the throne. He only needed to destroy the people gathered here, and from then on, there would be no one in the supreme ancient immortal realms who could threaten him. The countless lives in the world all trembled at this moment. Naturally, many of them had their fates bound by the God King in the sky, being used by him. This seemed to be the ultimate goal of the Western world in the past, to gather the faith of everyone. But now, the ambition of the God King of the Western Paradise was even greater. In a beautiful mountain range, there was a lush green area. There were a few small houses built at the foot of a cliff. At this moment, there were 2 figures standing on the cliff. One was an old man, and the other was a woman. This woman was like a goddess from the 9 heavens, untainted by the mortal world. She was so beautiful that it was hard to find such a beautiful woman in the world. However, she chose to live in seclusion in the mountain range. What was even more terrifying was that not only was she beautiful, she was also powerful. She was at the heavenly deity realm and could stand at the peak of the supreme ancient immortal realms. But at this moment, this woman had a nervous expression on her face. She stared at the boundless starry space. The fate light cascading down from the heavens wanted to control her fate. But she was a heavenly deity, how could she be controlled so easily? She saw the Buddha devil figure standing in the 9 heavenly layers. He was so powerful, like an invincible existence. I'm afraid it'll be very difficult to escape this calamity. Beside her, the old man softly spoke as he sighed. That young man with shocking talent was so powerful. He started from the world overlord realm and overturned the various hegemonic powers of the supreme ancient immortal realms, destroying the unexcelled Qin clan. But even so, he still couldn't escape his fate. A monster like the God King of the Western Paradise actually appeared. Who else would be able to defeat him? When the woman heard this voice, her eyes seemed to become even more worried. Her figure flashed and she wanted to leave, heading towards the starry sky. Ni Shang, by the time you rush over, the battle would have already ended. Moreover, even if you go, you would only be throwing your life away. The elder shouted. He was precisely Chu Shen. Right now, the grandfather and grandson duo lived in seclusion here, not bothering themselves with the matters of the world. In the air, Goddess Nichang's body trembled. Was it too late? Her beautiful eyes stared at the boundless starry sky. Her heart seemed to be drifting there. Daosk City was not affected by the starlight. In this city, there was a sacred ground named Tiandao Sacred Academy. At this moment, in the airspace above the Tiandao Sacred Academy, many disciples of the Sacred Academy inclined their heads and stared at the sky, feeling incomparably shocked in their hearts. Was that the God King of the Western Paradise? At this time, who would be able to stop him? The God King of the supreme ancient immortal realms was already unstoppable. Would their senior brother Qin Wentian die? During these years, countless geniuses of the younger generations entered the Sacred Academy for cultivation. Many people respected this senior brother of theirs, Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian might be the disciple with the highest achievement in the history of the Tiandao Sacred Academy. My Sacred Academy still has a few other senior brothers in the Heaven Vault. Will the headmaster participate in the battle? Someone glanced at the peak of an ancient mountain in the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Over there, Headmaster Yi of the Tiandao Sacred Academy stood there, staring at the sky. At this moment, he didn't exude the aura of a supreme expert. Instead, he seemed very respectful and quietly stood behind a figure, performing the etiquette of a disciple. Headmaster most probably won't be able to win against the God King of the Western Paradise. He is too powerful now. I wonder if he would be able to fight against the God King of the Western Paradise. The gazes of many people landed on the white-robed figure before Headmaster Yi. Right now, there were many legends about this white-robed young man circulating around the Tiandao Sacred Academy. Some people said that he was the founder of the Tiandao Sacred Academy and was a true sage. He had already transcended everything and no longer cared about the matters of the mortal world. Even the headmaster was taught by him and was incomparably respectful to him. It was very difficult to imagine what sort of existence he was. There were also people who said that he was the Lord of Fate, able to control the fates of everyone in the world. However, according to the opinion of many people, the legendary place of the Tiandao Sacred Academy was none other than the God King of the Western Paradise. Only by entering the legendary place would one be able to meet this legendary character. But now, they personally saw it. Because of this supreme battle between the supreme experts of the world, the God King of the Western Paradise came out to personally spectate. At the peak of the mountain, the white-robed young man stood with his hands behind his back. His expression was so calm, there were no fluctuations at all. There was wind in the mountain, fluttering his white robes and black hair. That handsome face of his seemed to be someone who didn't belong to the mortal world. This God King of the Western Paradise is too evil, he actually wants to control the fates of everyone in the world, not caring about their lives. Before this, countless people in the Western world almost died because of him. Hua Taishu sacrificed himself for his Tao, only then did they have a chance to enter the cycle of samsara. Headmaster Yi spoke. On the mountain peak, other than the wind, only his voice could be heard. The white-robed young man still stood there quietly like a statue. Right now, the God King of the Western Paradise is controlling the fate of everyone in the world, transforming into a heaven-defying existence. Most probably, that fellow Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to contend against him. Those few little fellows are all in danger inside. Seeing that the white-robed young man didn't reply, Headmaster Yi continued to speak, but there was still no reply. This caused Headmaster Yi to feel somewhat depressed. "What do you want to say?" The white-robed young man finally spoke. A trembling smile appeared on Headmaster Yi's face as he spoke in a light voice. "Master, could it be that you really intend to watch on like this? Through countless years, you have followed me to many places. Everything in the world has its own rules. Could it be that you want to interfere every time you encounter a situation?" The white-robed young man shook his head lightly. "Master, I naturally understand this. As the saying goes, good and evil go hand in hand. There are people who have good and evil in them. Unless everything in the world is destroyed, they would never be able to break free from the cycle of good and evil." Headmaster Yi nodded, speechless in his heart. Since his master said this, it was clear that he already had his own plans. He couldn't guess his master's thoughts, but he couldn't change them either. "If that fellow wins, I'm afraid the people in the world would suffer a calamity." Headmaster Yi sighed. "If he wins, just kill him." The white-robed young man calmly spoke, causing Headmaster Yi's eyes to freeze. Below, the hearts of those who were eavesdropping on the conversation between the white-robed young man and Headmaster Yi trembled violently. Cough cough. One of them violently coughed. His face was flushed red, he was frightened. He stared at the mountain peak and saw the white-robed young man quietly standing there. With him around, it was like everything in the world was nothing but a foil. When he spoke these words, he was so calm and indifferent, like this wasn't even worth mentioning. "If he wins, just kill him. Kill the God King of the Western Paradise." This, Headmaster Yi also perspired. He wasn't so shocked, he only mumbled, "Earlier, didn't Master say that everything in the world has its own rules?" The white-robed young man turned his head and calmly glanced at Headmaster Yi. That calm gaze actually caused Headmaster Yi to have a feeling that his master seemed to be looking down on him. Did he say something wrong? Aren't the rules set by humans? The white-robed young man said something extremely simple. When Headmaster Yi saw the look of disdain in his master's eyes, he felt somewhat wronged. Didn't he get tricked by this old man? However, although this sentence couldn't be more simple, in this world, other than Headmaster Yi, who else would dare to say it so calmly? The rules of their conversation were the rules of order that contained everything in the world. Was it determined by man? Who could determine that? However, Headmaster Yi couldn't refute this because the person who said this was his master. In this world, no one was more qualified than him to say this. Headmaster Yi lowered his head in depression. He didn't speak anymore. In front of his master, it was better to be obedient. Hence, a strange scene appeared on the mountain peak. The legendary figure whom they revered as a god, the headmaster of the Tiandao Sacred Academy, Headmaster Yi, who was already so old, was like a child who had been wronged. His head was lowered. That look was something that those in the Tiandao Sacred Academy who saw it would never be able to forget. And what they said earlier. Was that a joke? However, given Headmaster Yi's status, he wouldn't make such a joke, right? Hence, at this moment, everyone in the Tiandao Sacred Academy was thinking, in their Tiandao Sacred Academy, what kind of person was this white-robed young man who never entered the world? Chapter 2033. A cold smile appeared on the face of the God King of the Western Paradise. His gigantic palm stretched out and grabbed towards a constellation. With a ferocious clench of his fist, that constellation actually disintegrated into dust in his palm. Those stellar martial cultivators who were connected to the constellation felt as though they were missing something. They could no longer sense the power of the constellation they were connected to. The God King of the Western Paradise seemed to enjoy this feeling very much. He laughed, "Is this the feeling of boundless power? Even I didn't expect that I would be so strong. Many thanks for your help. Seems like I'm about to transcend soon." Qin Wentian and the others stared at that gigantic figure as their hearts trembled. With a clench of his hand, he directly destroyed a constellation. Such divine power could shake the heavens and earth and make ghosts and gods weep. He has truly reached an unfathomable realm. He was simply too powerful. Who could be his opponent? How can I break it? Qin Wentian seemed to be mumbling to himself. Everyone was thinking about this. How can they break it? Meng Chen comprehended it earlier and now, he is still immersed in that state, unwilling to come out. After being enlightened by him, my cultivation base has deepened. My 6 paths force transformed into 6 worlds, and I can also sense that Meng Chen is trying to control the various worlds. Wentian, since you can sense the power of the constellations in the sky, the method to break it must be within. Only by digging out all of your potential would we have a chance. Qin Yuanfeng's voice was heavy. The God King of the Western Paradise was so strong because he had fused the energy of the various God Kings into his own Tao, allowing him to sense the boundless power of the constellations. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Another cold voice rang out. At this moment, in the eyes of the God King of the Western Paradise, everyone was like ants. He was about to transcend and everyone before him was like an ant. These people still wanted to obstruct him. They must be dreaming. He lifted his foot and stomped down towards Qin Wentian and the others. Right now, he could cover the sky with a single hand, and his palms could directly crush constellations. What terrifying strength was this? Even if it was just a casual stomp, it was earth-shattering, wanting to trample on the heavens. Qin Wentian and the others only felt the sky blotting out the sun. That demonic foot stomped down, destroying all Daos. Qin Wentian's sealing power was directly destroyed. Rumbling sounds rang out, it was as though this stomp was enough to completely bury them. Space-time. Qin Wentian used his space-time Tao to envelop everyone. Space and time warped as they directly vanished and appeared on a floating palace. There were many of his loved ones and friends in this floating palace and he naturally had to protect them well. If not, if the God King of the Western Paradise slammed down with a single palm, all of them would be annihilated. This was simply a path of death. Humph! A cold snort resounded through the heavens and earth. You want to protect my family? In this world, who could Qin Wentian protect? Right now, the fate of everyone was in his control. If he wanted someone to die, that person would die. If he wanted everyone to be annihilated, everyone would be annihilated. How could Qin Wentian save them? His palm grabbed towards the floating palace. However, he only saw Qin Wentian activating his supremely powerful spacetime heavenly Tao energy. Astral light cascaded down, Qin Wentian and the floating palace both vanished together, appearing at an extremely far distance away. But to the God King of the Western Paradise, even if he was extremely far away, he could still see him with his eyes. Right now, his body was incomparably large. If it was an ordinary heavenly deity, they most probably wouldn't be able to fly out of his palm. God King of the Western Paradise. At this moment, Qin Wentian spoke. His voice rang through the starry space. That incomparably gigantic figure stared at him, filled with arrogance. This battle is a battle between you and me. If you can kill me, I will allow you to devour me and transform me into your strength, allowing you to pursue transcendence. But before this, don't harm the lives of the people around me. If not, even if I die, I will destroy everything, turning myself into dust. Even if I die, I won't leave behind any benefits for you. How about it? Qin Wentian spoke. Naive. The God King of the Western Paradise mocked. Do you really think you have the qualifications to discuss conditions with me? All of you are merely lowly ants. Regardless of heavenly deities or mortals, all of you are the same in my eyes. If I want to deal with you, do you think I will give you a chance to destroy everything? But since you said this, I will give you a chance. I won't deal with them and will kill all of you who participated in the battle first. If any of you dare to play tricks on me, after you all die, I will make the lives of the others suffer a fate worse than death. He agreed to Qin Wentian's conditions. Clearly, he had some reservations about Qin Wentian's words. This time, his purpose wasn't merely to kill Qin Wentian and the others. His ultimate goal of killing them was to pursue transcendence. Although he said he didn't care, he was still worried. If Qin Wentian and the others truly destroyed everything, affecting his transcendence, he didn't know when he would get another chance. Hence, he didn't mind killing these ant-like characters a little later. Right. Qin Wentian nodded. He unleashed his spacetime Dao and shifted the floating palace to a faraway location. The God King of the Western Paradise calmly watched on. These people wouldn't be able to escape from his palm. He wasn't worried that Qin Wentian would play any tricks. Wentian. In the floating palace, countless familiar figures turned their gazes to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared at everyone. The battle today is unavoidable. If I die in battle, don't give up any chance to live. I've let you all down, I'm unable to protect everyone. I want to be together with you. Mo Qingqing spoke. Seal. Qin Wentian pointed his finger at Mo Qingqing. A powerful energy directly sealed her cultivation. After that, his eyes turned to Qin Er. Qin Er's silhouette flashed, wanting to use the Tao of space to leave. However, how could she be faster than Qin Wentian? Qin Wentian's gaze locked onto her. Qin Er's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian. Her hair was as white as snow. At this moment, tears flowed down her beautiful eyes that had always been cold. It was like their hearts were connected. At the instant Qin Wentian acted against Mo Qingqing, she already knew that Qin Wentian would imprison her. They understood each other too well. After that, Qin Wentian sealed Yi Qianyu as well. When he saw the beautiful eyes of the maidens staring at him, a smile appeared on Qin Wentian's face. He calmly spoke, "If I die in battle and we meet again in the next life, I will still marry you all." After that, he turned his head and stared at Luotian Qinxue, "Mother, you guys leave. If we die in battle, release the seal on them. Don't turn back, don't give up any hope of survival." Qin Wentian was very clear that if they died in battle, the fates of everyone here would already be determined. However, he still had a trace of hope in his heart. He hoped that Mo Qingqing and Qin Er could fight for their lives. Even if there was only a sliver of hope, he wouldn't let it go. Silly child. Luotian Qinxue sighed. She knew what Qin Wentian, Qingqing, and Qin had experienced. If Qin Wentian really died, would they be able to survive? But even so, Qin Wentian still did this. True love could transcend life and death, transcend logic. I want to participate in the battle as well. Jun Mengchen opened his eyes. His gaze was cold as he spoke, "I'm still lacking. I hate that I can't have more time to comprehend. I feel that I've already entered a different realm but it's too late. Good brother, let's live and die together." Qin Wentian stretched out his hand. Jun Mengchen also stretched his hand out, shaking hands with Jun Mengchen. The two of them traveled together. For this final battle, none of them were absent. "Are you done?" A cold voice rang out from the starry space. Qin Wentian turned his gaze over, staring at that gigantic figure. He then turned to Qin Yuanfeng, "Father, your child has implicated you. You are my son." Qin Yuanfeng calmly spoke. Qin Wentian smiled but didn't say anything. Qin Wentian then turned his gaze to the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper calmly replied, this is the hatred of Azure Mystic. Emicham. Qin Wentian didn't say anything more. In the end, he glanced at Princess Kitamura only to see that Princess Kitamura's beautiful eyes were also looking at him. Do you think that if I don't participate in the battle, the God King of the Western Paradise would spare me? Qin Wentian was speechless. Just like what Princess Kitamura has said, the God King of the Western Paradise originally coveted the imperishable Heaven Lord strength. Now that Yu Huang was the inheritor of the imperishable Heaven Lord, how could the God King of the Western Paradise spare her? Clearly, Princess Kitamura had to participate in the battle. Let's go. Qin Wentian calmly smiled and stepped out into the starry space. Qin Yuanfeng released Luotian Qinshue's hand and smiled warmly at her. Now, Wentian is indomitable. We have to be proud of him and do things according to his words. If we die in battle, you have to live well. Luotian Qinshu smiled and nodded, there was no sorrow in her heart. Everything was expressed without words. She had experienced such a situation of despair before. Now, she experienced it again, and this time around, her son was implicated as well. Would they be able to escape from this calamity? Qin Wentian, Princess Kitamura, Qin Yuanfeng, the Grim Reaper, Jun Mengchen. Numerous figures walked out like they were preparing to die. They already stood at the peak of the supreme ancient immortal realms, but for this battle, they still couldn't see any hope. But even so, they still wanted to fight. This battle was for themselves, for their families, for the people of the world. In this battle, if they didn't kill their enemies, they would die in battle. At this moment, their backs were so imposing, so moving. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.